Oh, we are live.
Oh, we are live.
I didn't mean to hit that, but welcome everybody. This is an optimum view.
Yes. Welcome to Hack Shack Studios. Taylor and I are changing positions. Yes. So we are going to put together, let me see if I can find these. Oh, I'm RT Bear. I'm RT Bear. Welcome to Hack Shack Studios. We are going to put a scene together for you, a black and white scene of this wacky book. And I have this camera set up really close to my board. So we're having a little bit of focus issues. Is it focused there, Taylor?
It looks pretty good on the YouTube end.
Okay. So on this, I guess I can make it a little lower, but it looks pretty good. How does she look on your...
She looks pretty good. How do you guys like the, looks good, it says level 3.
Okay, yeah,
It's a little bright, but I think that it's good.
Yeah, we're trying to get this camera set up a little bit better. It bounces a little bit, and the focus...
There we go, just focused it on her face.
Yeah. Does it go out of focus kind of quickly?
It's focusing right now on the folder you're holding, but when you moved it, it focused on her face.
Okay. So it does kind of bounce in and out of focus?
Yeah, basically.
Once there's movement? Okay. So, yeah, we're trying to get this stuff down so we can have a better show for you guys. If you saw all the jerry-rigging we did to make this thing happen, you would be amazed.
You would not believe what we go through to make these happen.
Yeah. So, I already introduced myself. The other person talking with me is Taylor Grosso.
Hi, everybody.
Yes, and we are working on this book called Black and White. It's currently on Indiegogo right now, and we're in demand, so the store is open. So if you'd like, come by, pick up a book, and okay, I see how it's focusing. It's got a little bit of focus when I move things. Okay, so I'm, yeah, thanks guys. I'm gonna have to move a little slower, I think, so we can catch up with this camera. So this is the scene we're going to be working on. So we're gonna read dialogue, and we're gonna go over balloon placements, and I'm gonna be working artistically, drawing these panels here. And I have this one worked out somewhere else. And Taylor and I are going to work on some of the dialogue, just make sure it's all where we want it to be. And then this is the last page of the scene. So I have these two shots worked out, I have this shot worked out, and I have this shot reworked. So part of what we're doing is it's remastering. Is that first issue around here somewhere?
Let me
here it is. Okay, what? Oh, this is a page from it. This is just a page. We are so organized here. Oh, here it is. All right, here we go. Got so much stuff around here. So, I'll show you what the original was. So the original scene was just this page here, right here. It was just a one-page scene. So part of the remastering is to give you guys more. We're getting into backstory. We're getting more into character. And it's just fleshed out in a lot better way. It's going to be an amazing read. I'm so happy with the way this is turning out. So this page now, with the remastering, is becoming the sequence that I just showed you. So we added this page, so this is new. And so then this is kind of a hybrid of the old and new. So these two panels were used. And so this one was used, but these three will be new. And then these two are new, old, but with a twist. There's gonna be a twist to it. And then this is new, and then this one will be reworked right here. So that's, I think we're caught up here, Taylor? Are we caught up? Is that kind of what we're going to be doing?
Yeah, let me see. I'm going to try to speak up to make sure that you guys can hear me when we read some of this fresh dialogue.
Yeah, we're using the one microphone on the iPad right now, so it might not be great, but we're going to try to speak up so you can hear us.
If you want to help fund some kind of upgrades to the studio and to our film setup.
Oh, Durikin, I guess I'm feeling white up.
This is a PG live stream,
Hey, let's not go there. That was funny though.
But if you want to help fund some upgrades, there is a donate button I'll be adding to the description.
Believe me, we could use some upgrades.
Yeah. We're under review for channel monetization right now, but as is, we're still waiting, so anything helps. And also, if you want to get your hands on this book, so someday you can find this video and read along.
Yeah.
You can get it in demand on Indiegogo.
And this right here, guys, this is my best friend today. There is so much of this tape all over my drawing board right now. It's pretty crazy. Okay, so then let me see here.
Yeah, I have the script queued. We should have printed this out, actually.
Yeah, maybe you could just read the whole thing while I work, or maybe I can, because I was thinking I could do the doctor's voice. But so this right here, this image that I penciled up, duct tape fixes everything. Yes, it does. Do you remember that? What's that show where those two special effects guys would do stuff? Oh my gosh. You know, the one guy had the beard or the mustache and the glasses and the beret.
Oh my gosh, yes.
They seemed like they hated each other.
I can't remember what the name of that. You guys, what was the name of that show? They tested a theory. Mythbusters. Yes.
Mythbusters, yeah. And so, thank you, Rhaegar. And they made a whole boat out of duct tape. They did, and it floated and it held water. So they were saying like the one thing bring to I think to a desert island, a deserted island, yeah, is duct tape. Yeah, because it'll do just about anything you want it to do, which in this case did. So this panel right here is going to be this panel right here. So I know it's reversed. What I do is I draw things on the back and then I lightbox them and I refine them. So I'll flop it when I scan it and put it into the computer. So it'll read the right way once I'm done. So that's going to be that one. And then I have, let me see, grab this. And so this shot here is, let me do side by side here. Yeah, it'll be this shot here.
She looks less grumpy.
Yeah, she's like a grumpy puss right here. But you know what? I drew this while like we were in some chat or something and I was standing up. I was just like drawing this with a marker. I don't even think this has any underdrawing on it. I was just like drawing it with a Sharpie when we were doing something else. So
very expressive.
So forgive me. And my little doodle. This is pretty close though. She just looks a little hotter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did her makeup.
Maybe I wasn't happy because I was standing up and I was drawing this. I was channeling my inner grump. And so yeah, these are the eyes, and these will replace the two shots here. And so there's some little twists and turns in this, and I'm gonna get set up now to start working on throwing some ink down here. So you guys have a little introduction. I think what Taylor and I'll do is we'll kind of settle in, get a little comfortable, and I'll start putting some ink down, and then we'll treat you to a dramatic reading of this 3-page sequence. So here we go.
And also, feel free if you have any questions, if you want to join the conversation. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us if you want to chat. So
yes, chat away.
Open book.
Chat up.
Let me see. Are we going to start this sequence at the splash?
Yeah, we'll just kind of refine some of the dialogue.
All right.
So these are all patches, you guys, that we're going to put into the book. And so far, it's been pretty seamless, the old and new. And one of the reasons I'm channeling my 1994 inking style a little bit, and our colorist, he's bringing some unification to everything.
Rhaegar's throwing some shade. Hopefully better than Mike's dramatic readings.
Yeah, I can't make any promises.
Mike had Edwin though, right?
Yeah, how do you mess up with Edwin?
That's pretty cool.
I think I heard John chiming in too.
We could have Edwin do the doctor's voice. We could send it over. Man, we should have printed the script because we were gonna have. I don't know if you said this, Art. I think you did. You were gonna read the doctor part, but
I could.
We'd have to back and forth. That's okay.
You could do your best doctor voice.
The one thing you take to a desert island is a spoon. But why? A dessert island?
A desert island. Yeah, let me figure out what I'm doing here.
Hey, it's McGee.
It's Doc McGee.
We got 11 people watching now. Remember, liking this video helps boost our views. So it's greatly appreciated if you guys hit that little thumbs up button.
Yeah, give us a thumb up. I got tape all over this board to keep me in camera range.
It looks pretty good.
I'm going Hollywood on you guys.
I'm watching.
These are my camera marks.
Some of us have manners when we're eating our desserts, says Durakin. Durakin. I'm trying to say your name properly.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Durakin.
Do you remember Kim Possible? There was a character named Dr. Draken. I always think of Dr. Draken when I think of Draken.
Was he kind of looked like Ron Stoppable, but he had like dark hair and he was all like paled out and...
He had like blue skin. He was the mad scientist character and he had like tiny hands. I think that was the joke. He had these tiny hands.
That's funny. I saw they're doing a live action Kim Possible.
Yeah.
I think.
I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but...
If that's real, which I think it is.
Oh, it is real, but I just don't know how well it's gonna be.
All right, let me know when you want me to start reading this.
Oh, I just figured we'd walk and or just like work and then just read the chat.
Okay, that's cool.
Taylor, the way you do this is you tease things.
Oh.
You say later we're gonna do a dramatic reading, and then you go off on a million tangents, and then you bring it back.
I'm sorry, I'm eager. Let me see.
Taylor just doesn't want to work. She's like, wait a minute. I just want to goof off and
talk about the
do dramatic readings.
Talk about Kim Possible. TC says you're such a showman.
What's the? Well, I try. My natural go-to is right over here. But see, I have the spot, you guys. This is my center. This is my camera center right here. So these are my marks right here.
Art directing.
I'm all Hollywood now. Hit your mark.
What is a Kim Possible? Says Rhaegar.
Oh my gosh, you gotta, not right now, but you gotta Google search. It's a cartoon. It was a Disney cartoon that, God, a couple years back. And it ran for, God, 3 or 4 years. It was brought, I know that a friend of mine, he's an animator, he's a designer for animated cartoons. His name is Steven Silver, and he did all the designs. He did the designs for the Clerk cartoon as well.
Oh, I remember that.
And Danny Phantom on Nick. And so he's really good. And he did all the Kim Possible designs for the show. So it was a big time show that we watched as a family here at the T-Bear household when my daughter was young. So it was one of our favorites. It's kind of like Kim Kim Possible's an adventurer, kind of dresses like a spy, like a James Bond type spy. And so it's kind of like James Bond meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So
That's a good pitch for the show, I'd say.
Yeah, she's a young high school student, and she just wants to make the world a better place. So I think it started off where she just placed an ad for to make extra money, like she do babysitting or something like that, and somehow like the advertisement or whatever that was up on her social media didn't turn out right or something, and it was something like that she'll help anybody or God, what is her? She has a tagline or a catchphrase or something like that. And so it was up there, and I think somebody thought it was something other than it was, and so they hired her, but it was like some kind of can you retrieve this gem or this precious object or something like that. So then she goes and does it, and then she gets a taste for it, and then I think the press or some other people saw it because it was all done with her social media. So then a lot of other people asked about her services and things. So she became kind of this adventurer, this babysitting adventurer. Although I don't think she really babysits in any of the episodes. It just kind of started off that way. And so she's got a boy that's in her life, and she's Kim Possible, but he's Ron Stoppable. And so that's his thing. And so they just have a series of kind of Bond-esque villains, like really silly villains. So like that Dr. Draken is the kind of I don't know, Lex Luthor kind of mad scientist type character. And then there's Dee and Amy. And so Dee and Amy is crazy. She cheese and crackers, lady.
It's a great character name, by the way.
Yeah, she's a gene splicer. So there's these God, when Amanda was, maybe Taylor will know, Webkins, or what were those things called? Those beanbag babies or whatever those things were. Beanie Babies? Is that what they were called?
I remember Beanie Babies. Those are more my generation. I think Webkins were hers. Those were the ones that connect, like, they have like a little internet code or something, right?
I don't know. I think they're probably more Beanie Babies then. And what there is in this Kim Possible world is these things called, they're not Beanie Babies. I forget what they're called. But she collects them, and Dee and Amy loves those things too. So then what she does is Dee and Amy, because they're like two animals in one. It's like I can't think.
They're spliced or whatever.
Yeah, but even the toy line is kind of like it's a squirrel and a horse or something like, and they have like these names that combine the two names together. Like a horse bee or...
I like where this is going.
Stuff like that. So anyways, Dee and Amy loves them so much, she actually made them like real. So she actually splices these animals together, and they become like super like crazed, and they're just like monsters kind of thing. I don't think they ever do any real harm, but they're pretty damn scary.
They're victims, man.
Yeah, they're victims of her experiments.
Draken says her motto is "I can do anything."
That's it. Yeah.
He also says, and I didn't know this was true, she starts as a high schooler, but it ends in her college years. I didn't know it went on that far in her life.
I didn't either.
Interesting.
I know that there was like they did a movie or something, and they finally get the two characters together, the Ron Stoppable and her. And so they go to the prom or something like that, and they have a dance, and that's kind of how the series ends.
Aww.
Yeah.
I didn't watch a whole lot of it. I think I graduated in 2008, so I was a little old, but I remember when it first started, because I think it was in 2000. God, it was the early 2000s when it started.
Yeah, I don't know.
2002. Okay.
And the thing is that I was developing a lot of animated stuff at the time, so I was pretty plugged into all that stuff that was happening. And the cool thing is when I did this cartoon book called Chrono Mechanics. Is there one sitting there?
Actually,
Maybe
you
I
should
can
show your sleeve. There's a little cameo.
Oh. Yeah, this is a Chrono character. I have a Chrono jacket on right now. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah.
That's Corky.
That's Corky. He's a Chronomite. So, yeah, I did this book here. And so I put it out. The comics industry didn't seem to respond, but the animation industry sure as heck did. So even Doug TenNapel did a review and a little write-up on the book. I had Steven Silver, Tom Bancroft. I don't think any of the reviews are in this book. But it's definitely an animated style that I did. And so, like I said, the animation industry lit up when I put this out. I just did a con in San Diego, and I had a preview book. I didn't even have this book out yet. And some Warner Brothers execs came up, and they invited me to come pitch. And they were Kids WB.
Nice.
So I pitched this at Kids WB years ago.
That used to be a great, I guess not a separate channel, but that
network.
used to be a great network. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I like that network. I love that building too. It was really cool. And so, so after that, then I just started kind of developing animated properties and different things. So I actually left comics for about 2 years, and I just did animation. I would design shows and pitch shows and things like that. And we went pretty far with Kids WB with Chrono. We got into the early development stages where you put a Bible, they called together, and stuff like that. So we did that, and it was a lot of fun. So yeah, I was really, really in tune with a lot of the animated cartoons that were coming out at the time, and Kim Possible was one of the better ones. And I can't remember the two gentlemen. This is all coming back to me. It was years ago. It was Corkle and McShuley or McScully.
Ooh, distinctive name.
And those were the Kim Possible creators. And they created the Buzz Lightyear, or what was that cartoon?
Star Command.
Star Command,
that
yeah.
That was a great show.
Yeah, no, those guys are really, really good. And
I didn't know they made that.
Yeah, I started hanging out with those guys. Those guys became pretty good friends and supporters of Chrono Mechanics. And they also did that Sky High. I think it was a theatrical movie with what's his name? Kurt Russell.
I always heard that was pretty good.
You know what? That movie is really good. It's definitely, it seems more TV-ish, but maybe it's just because of the budget, because it definitely did not have a budget on it at all.
What did they put that out through? Do you remember?
I think Disney put it out. You mean what?
Oh, it was a Disney property.
Yeah, it was a Disney property. So they did that. They created that and wrote that. And I think most recently, actually this will date me because it's probably not even most recent, is that Penguins of Madagascar or whatever that show was.
That was a good show.
They put that together. So they left Disney and went over to Nickelodeon and started working there. So this is stuff that I know Taylor's really interested in animation, and so am I. So it's one of the things that if Taylor and I can stay into this creator, what would you call this? Independent creator place. We
always say creator owned, but I guess independent would be a better way to put it.
Yeah. So we would like, if we could stay here and start making a living doing more independent projects, then the next thing is film and TV. I have a Chrono Mechanics movie script that it took my writing partner, Matthew Hillary, 8 years to bring together, but it's really, really good. And since then, I've seen, oh my gosh, I've seen a lot of different properties use some of the ideas, which makes me angry.
Would you ever, well, I guess I should ask it like this. Would you ever be able to read any of that on here, or is it kind of under wraps because it's still
The
kind of in
script?
talks? Yeah.
I don't know. If you guys would want maybe some of the Chrono script read, I think it would probably, you know, we have been talking about possibly making Chrono a future Indiegogo project. So yeah, maybe we could bust out some movie script.
If you guys want to hear more about Chrono, we can always do like a Chrono special. There's a lot of material there. I know I always talk about this website, but if you want to get a little taste of the Chronoverse, you can check out chronomechanics.com. We put a website together and get a feel for the characters and stuff. It's a pretty cool world. When did you first create Chrono, Art?
My daughter was 7. Actually, she's probably younger because there's an incarnation that's called Quantum Mechanics.
That's right.
And there was another comic book called Quantum Mechanics, and they sent a cease and desist, and they didn't have any legal grounds because you can't really own Quantum Mechanics. Well, you can't own that. And let me turn on a light here. It's getting a little dark.
Yeah, because quantum mechanics are a thing.
Yeah, and so you know, I talked to my lawyer, and he said, yeah, they can't really do that. But what they could do is they can tie, like if you wanted to fight them for the title, they could put up enough of a stink that it would just kind of tie your hands of doing the book, and it would just be kind of caught up in court litigations and stuff. And he said that would be enough to just kind of hurt you financially because you want to put out the book. You know, you spend all those months working on the book. You want to, you know, start putting it out so you can get paid for it.
Yeah.
And so he advised me to not do that. And so then, just as any creator would be like, well, what do I do now? You know, my title is gone. I can't use this title. And so I don't know. I just started brainstorming, and I was like, other names for time. And I always liked, remember there was that character in The Flash, his name was Chronos, the time thief?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I just always loved that Chronos, the time thief, you know, or it was just Chrono. Was it Chronos or Chrono? Yeah, Chronos, the time thief. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's cool. and so then I was thinking, you know, Chrono. And so then it just became Chrono Mechanics, which is actually more descriptive of the title because it's time repairman.
Yeah.
Basically what you're saying. And so
I like the title.
I like it better now. Yeah.
I do too.
But you know, like when you get hit with that stuff creatively, like all your hopes are on this idea, and so it bugged me, man. It knocked me to rock bottom. And also this was weeks, I think. It was right after San Diego because we had, oh my gosh, Taylor, it was huge. We got to get back into this stuff.
Hardware says you should have spelled it quantum, Kwantum. But yes, I agree.
We got to get back out there because taking this stuff to the streets, because you never know what's going to happen. We got such good response on Chrono Mechanics at San Diego that one year. Like I said, we got the Warner Brothers. We actually got a tentative toy deal with Playmates. There's actually prototypes. I got to find them somewhere of these little toys. I got a picture of my daughter. She was like 7
so
and she's
cute.
showing them off. They had like little leather work gloves, Taylor.
Do we have that picture somewhere?
I don't know. I'll find it. Yeah, so we had those in the booth, and we had, we'll show you this too. I have a friend. His name's Mike Smithson, and he works in special effects in Hollywood. And he did a digital, like, maquette, I think they call them, for turnarounds and things for the one of the characters named Doug.
Oh, we have a video of that on the channel.
Oh, do we?
Yeah. I forget what it's called, but yeah, we have a video where we kind of show like panning around with the Doug. It's very sizable and it's pretty cool.
It's probably close to 3 feet tall.
Yeah, it's really big. It's pretty neat. But when you're done with this video, check that out.
Yeah, we had that at the booth, and yeah, it was really cool. And like I said, just a lot of animated creators and stuff befriend us. I have these pictures. I gotta find these. Matt Groening.
Oh my gosh.
Came up and talked to us. And
I could see him being into Chrono.
I wanted so bad to get a quote from him.
Ooh.
But and he talked to us for a long time. He probably would have done it. I just didn't have the nerve to ask him.
I wouldn't have had the nerve to ask him either.
And so like I said, Tom Bancroft, supporters early on was also oh gosh. There's Steven Silver. I almost got a quote from Chris Saunders. That would have been cool.
How early on in his career was that?
This was, I think that Lilo and Stitch had just come out or was coming out when I kind of, I wouldn't say we're friends, but it's like more acquaintances, like con buddies and stuff like that. Yeah, we don't hang out socially or anything like that. Yet. And then, of course, the great Doug TenNapel. If you haven't checked out his book, Bigfoot Bill, it's pretty awesome. and Doug backed Black and White, so thank you, Doug.
Aw.
Yeah.
Thanks, Doug.
He's a good guy. And yeah, so I would like to get back into that. You know, make comic books. Start hanging out in Hollywood, bring those back around. See if there's any kind of I don't know, where they could have a different life. More life. As creative people, we're always looking for ways to get these creations in front of people.
Yeah, and comics are probably the favorite medium, but it's not the only medium that you can work in. I think comics and animation kind of go hand in hand.
I find a lot of it. I'm just a creative person, so I just like creative challenges. And I like to put myself into creative situations. So I've been doing comic books for 35 years now, and yeah, I think it would be fun to shake things up a little bit and to do some other stuff, you know, like writing, which we're doing right now, and drawing other books and creating brand new properties for you guys. That's the goal. That's the dream.
And with your guys' help, we can do it. Let's see. Chat says Sky High is a made-for-TV Disney movie.
Oh, it was made for TV then. Okay.
It's a fun movie. I would love to have seen a series on that.
Made for TV? They got Kurt Russell and what's
dang.
What's her name? She married I think she's a beard for I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
Whoa.
For what's his name? John Travolta. What's his wife's name?
Oh my gosh, I do think she's a beard as well. Sorry.
She is gorgeous.
I know. I forgot. I know who you're talking
Kelly
about.
Preston.
Yeah, Kelly Preston. Wow. They got some high caliber people for a TV movie.
Yeah, so it's kind of, I don't know if it came out before The Incredibles.
Are you sure it didn't have a limited release? I could have sworn I saw like posters for it.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It definitely looks like TV though. And because like the villains and the costume designs, but I always think it's theatrical just because of the caliber of some of the actors that they got in it. And the kid that plays the main kid is kind of you've seen him in some bigger roles too.
Yeah, didn't he go on to do stuff?
I'm not really good with placement of actors and stuff, but I do believe he did. Yes.
Imagine if Sky High was actually made into a series. Hero No Academia would probably not be as popular or considered a ripoff. I love My Hero Academia. And Gonzo says, that pic has a slight Michael Turner look. Did you ever work with him?
I did. Is it still up? Oh, if you look in the closet, Taylor, there's, I did some trading cards. They're still in it's the top one. It's in that little plastic showcase.
Oh wait, this is the Batman ones. Hold on.
Yeah, it's like a stand-up. It might not be in there anymore.
I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to see if
it used to be there. Yeah, I did some trading cards for Fathom, and that's the closest I ever came.
Darn.
Yeah, I had the trading card here somewhere.
They're pretty cool.
Yeah. I always thought that Michael Turner was kind of a hybrid of a lot of people as well. Like he was one part J. Scott Campbell, one part Jim Lee, and one part Mark Silvestri.
He has had a very aesthetically pleasing style, I thought.
Yeah, I think the reason this looks that way is because she's got thicker lips, and I think that's kind of a Michael Turner thing. But I'm a big animation guy, so I like animation. So sometimes the eyes get a little bit bigger. Somebody said in one of these chats or something, I thought I was really flattered by it because I definitely love these guys. It was like your art is one part Glenn Keane and one part Jim Lee.
That's an accurate description, I would say.
And I was like, yeah, I love both those guys.
That's a big compliment. I think that's true.
And early on, Jim Lee and our comic book likes and influences were real similar. So if you see when Jim and I worked together pre-X-Men title, we worked on Uncanny together, and we were kind of going through our Barry Windsor Smith phase. And I still bounce in and out of it because there's this line they give it to me, but I really got it from Barry Windsor, and it's like a bloop. Can you see this, Taylor? I'm kind of going off the.
Let me see. There's a slight delay. It looks good to me though.
But it's like a bloop on the end like that.
There we go.
So it's kind of like you drag down and then you just kind of put it like that. So can you see? I'm going to move it a little closer to the camera. Is it getting blurry?
Let me see.
So it's kind of like that, but that's a big. It was from Barry.
That looks good.
I kind of refined it a little bit, and the real flattery is I inked Art Adams that way on the Fantastic Four run that I did with him and Walter Simonson. And when I was working with Jeff Scott Campbell on Danger Girl, we were talking on the phone, and Jeff just said he was getting caught up in like how to ink it and stuff, and then he just stopped and said, "What am I talking about?" He said, "I got this style from the way you inked Art Adams." So that kind of bloopy, all that stuff, he contributed to me, so that was very generous. I was very flattered by that. As an inker, sometimes they get overlooked, but an inker can actually contribute to style. Definitely. On a book as well. And I used to pride myself on that. Maybe it was because I was a frustrated creative person and I wanted to pencil more. I'm not really sure, or just a need to express myself beyond, just the normal, I guess, like Kevin Smith says, tracer.
Art refuses to do mediocre work.
Yeah. Was that in the chat?
No, I just said that.
Oh, well, thank you.
I don't think I've ever seen you settle for anything less than it being, like, above standard.
Well, you have to. You're only as good as your last job, right? So everything you do has to be amazing.
Remember that, you guys.
Yeah, never, ever phone it in. Always, give it your 110. It can get daunting, but the thing is, if you really love it, which I do, obviously, I'm still doing it, it doesn't feel that way. It felt that way a little bit trying to set up this camera, but that had nothing to do with artwork. And I just like to show how gracious I am. So if anyone's listening, whoever created this, thank you from the bottom of my heart because the only reason this camera is in this cool position right now is because of the tape. I just realized I got to plug in this camera.
We will accept sponsorship
for duct tape
from Howard H. Duct or whoever invented.
I always want to say duct tape too, but it's actually
duck, right?
It's duck, like a duck. Yeah. It doesn't. You don't want
tape.
Yeah, you don't want to say duck. Like what the heck?
And then there's an actual brand that is duck.
Well, maybe it is duck.
No, I think that's literally called duct tape.
Is it like duct tape or is it duct tape?
I think it's duck.
Let's get down to this.
Chat, where do you
This is actually duck brand. You can see it.
Let's start a poll. Where do you guys rein in on the duck versus ducks?
Well, I don't think we have any control over it, but it would be nice.
Let's see. Let's see. Kim Possible / black and white crossover.
Oh, you know it, baby. That would be. I would be on it in a heartbeat. Go ahead, Taylor.
I was gonna say you could talk to him, but I don't think he has the rights. Silver.
I don't know if it's not. It's McCorkle or it's Corkle and McScully.
Because they own it, right?
I don't know if they own it, but they're the ones that created it.
Darn it, Disney.
I never had like their personal info. I had like their numbers at Disney and Nick. So I had their YouTube. I had their emails and phone numbers, but they probably, I mean, that was years ago. They've probably moved on since, but that would be nice to kind of reacquaint.
I wonder if they're still in the, if they're more in the film arena now. They might be interested in that Chrono script.
Yeah, I always thought they would be, because they write as well, so I always thought that they would be pretty perfect for the sensibilities.
I could definitely see that. Durakin wants to know, have you read Terry Pratchett's Discworld? There are time monks that deal with fixing time in that story.
I think I heard somebody talk about that on one of these threads, but I have not seen it. Is it good?
Yeah, I've never read it. I've heard really good things about Terry Pratchett. I've always wanted to read his like witchy kind of stories, but I don't know. The monks would probably not. They'd probably have a very different sensibility than the mechanics at Chrono.
Well,
the mechanics are very. Sorry, Art, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say they're very much like knuckle busting like workers. Like they're sort of like like normal repairmen.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of. My dad was always just a big knuckle busting, wrench turning kind of guy, and I think it just. I wasn't conscious of it at the time, but I think it was just kind of a tribute, to those guys that repair things. And I think, especially in today's society, it's really overlooked how much those people really do contribute to society.
Oh, yeah.
And keep the ball rolling so the rest of us can kind of reap the rewards. And so I think a little bit of it was just kind of an ode or tribute to my dad and people like that. I'm going to have to bend this weird because this arm is right here, but I need to get my hand into this position. So bear with me, guys.
You really find out what keeps the world running smooth when you're like stuck on a freeway that's under construction for hours or something that's that needs to be fixed that's preventing you from moving forward with your day.
Yeah, your lights go out or your cable goes out and you're like, and you're all inconvenienced, and then you realize that somebody in the eye of that storm or in the middle of that storm is out there, fixing stuff so you can watch, your favorite TV show.
Yeah, I agree though. There's not very many stories that follow people in that kind of line of work and also just people in that kind of position in life. At least not like in a heroic manner.
Yeah, and the thing is, I never wanted the story to be a G versus E type story, a good versus evil, and I never really wanted it to be like that they think they're like heroes or anything. They're just very matter of fact, take care of business, repair what needs to be fixed, and then go back home. You know, they're just kind of like
It's their
us.
job.
Yeah. Well, that's the tagline. It's not just a job; it's an adventure. But to them, it's not an adventure. It is their job. To the rest of us, we'd be like, "What the? Wow, that's crazy." But to them, it's just their pain in the ass job. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. You guys should give it a look-see. Do you still have books up for sale on the website? I think we still have some.
Yeah, there's a few running real low, and I really want to bring that book back, but I do have a black and white story about, you know, they in the chat they were talking about a crossover, Kim Possible black and white.
Oh yeah.
Or Chrono, was it Chrono or black and white?
Black and white crossing over with Kim Possible.
Yeah, that would be so weirdly cool. But actually, I know he's probably not that popular right now, and I don't have anything bad to say about him, but Eddie Berganza at DC Comics, I know that they were saying that he did some improper things to some girls and women. I don't know how true that is.
Bitey the Clown.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if that story's true.
What?
Remember there was this story. Okay, here's the thing. Whenever, and I'm not defending any behavior. Obviously, I don't know what happened, but whenever stories come out about somebody behaving badly, there's always like 3 extra stories that seem like they were made up in middle school.
Oh, okay.
And one of them was like, in the office, people called him Bitey the Clown because when he'd get drunk, he'd bite people. I was like, how would that even happen?
They said that about Eddie?
I think it was him, yeah.
Oh, gosh. I never heard that.
I was like, I don't think you could earn, like, where would that even be said?
Bitey McClown?
Bitey the Clown.
It doesn't have anything to do with his name. It'd be like Eddie McBitey or something. Like
Bitey the Clown.
But Bitey the Clown? Like Eddie McBitey.
So I don't know about that one.
Eddie McFang.
Anyway.
Eddie McSizer.
Sorry to derail.
Well, that's... You know what? The best part of life is, I started thinking about this, you know how everybody's like, oh, tangent.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? Tangents are the best part of life. Like, if you think about it, like getting to that point is pretty boring, but the tangents are what makes it interesting.
That's true.
Yeah. So I used to think tangents were kind of negative. They are in art, but just telling stories, not necessary. As long as you keep it interesting and fun. As long as you have good storytelling, you know, skills.
Yeah, that's
true. But yeah, McBitey Clown, what's his name? McBitey, McEddie, McClown, McSizer, whatever his name is. When I was at Image still, he reached out to me, and Black and White had just come out through Image Comics. This is probably 94, 95. And it's probably like 95 because I think it was the ongoing. And he asked if I wanted to bring Black and White to DC Comics.
Ooh.
He actually did. He said...
Interesting.
I forget the ruling who was in charge at the time. But he said, I'll pitch it, and we'll see if we can get, you know, an Image property to DC Comics. And like I said, this is probably 95.
So that was like, well, before any of the, well, I guess it was like...
Before any crossovers,
yeah.
Before, you know, the merger of Wildstorm and DC Comics and all that stuff. And so I remember, I think there's a doodle that I don't, it's not a finished piece of artwork, but I did a piece of artwork where I drew Batman and the black and white characters together.
Oh man.
Because I was like, okay, if this is, I go, would this be canon? Would this be DC Universe? And he goes, yeah. And I said, so that means Batman, right? And he's like, yep. And so I was like, woo, yay. Because Batman is like one of my favorite comic book characters of all time. Ever since I was that 5-year-old, 6-year-old watching that silly TV show in '66, the Adam West stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't know it was cheesy or funny at the time. I thought it was serious, but you know.
I mean, you were the demographic, though.
But I was 6. That's my defense. 6 years old.
I love when people get indignant about that kind of stuff. Like, how did you think that? I was a child.
Yeah, I was 6. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. I wish I could say comic books was first, but I think it was that TV show and then the comic book shortly after. Because back then, when I was a kid, you could get comic books anywhere. Yay! Now you have to, you know, sell them at specialty shops or through Indiegogo. But
I mean, that part's cool, but you know.
But that will change, you guys.
Here's hoping.
We have plans. But yeah, so that was pretty exciting times. Black and white at DC Comics would have been really cool. But sadly, Eddie just couldn't make it happen. I don't really remember the details of it, but it kind of it just kind of dissolved. Just kind of like some of these things just don't happen. You try, and so I think Eddie ended up editing this Batman Wildcats.
Boo.
And so then
I didn't read that, but black and white would have been cooler.
He brought me in on that. So I think I was inking. I think the idea was to ink. What is his name? Tony Daniels. He was going to do all the covers. So I was going to ink the Tony Daniels cover and then do finishes over. I think Carlos is now kind of dabbling. I think his name's Carlos in Comicsgate. He did the penciling, and so it was kind of a side project for me because I think I was still working on black and white at the time. So Jaime Mendoza worked in the studio with me. He was inking black and white, and actually Danny Mickey worked here. I actually hired him, gave him his first professional work, and trained him here at the Shack years and years ago. And so I couldn't do the whole book, so I asked Eddie, and Eddie Eddie wanted image guys. He wanted image guys over at
Smart.
At DC. So I told him, what if we did a jam? What if we did a Hack Shack jam on the book? And so the three of us basically inked that book. I think it was 3 issues.
The Wildcats crossover?
Wildcats Batman. It was some kind of like bare knuckle brawl kind of cage match story. And I think Chuck Dixon and Bo Smith created what's her name? It's Wyatt Earp. It's the female
Winona Earp?
Winona Earp. Thank you. So he created that character, and I think that's a TV show now. It's been going pretty strong for the last couple of years.
The comic is still going too, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's.
So yeah, so Bo's a friend too. He actually he was we hired him on to promote black and white. So he was kind of like a what do they call those? Like PR guy,
I was just going to say promoter, but I don't think that's...
Yeah. So he was a PR guy, so...
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, for black and white. So he fit right in. Because I think he was working on Spawn. Like, he was Todd McFarlane's, like, PR guy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he also wrote comics and, was involved with them creatively. And he's really good. But he kind of did PR for McFarlane Productions or whatever it was.
Not a bad place to be.
Yeah, so yeah, the old image reminds me a lot of the Comicsgate stuff right now, where there was a lot of cross-pollination and a lot of did that sound dirty?
In the best way.
In the best of ways.
Creative cross-pollination.
You got your peanut butter in my chocolate.
You got your black and white in my Batman.
Yikes. Two great tastes. But yeah, so so he was writing, and I believe it was Chuck Dixon and Carlos God, or was it Sergio? What the heck?
Sergio Aragonés?
No.
Sergio, I know.
Do you have access to the internet?
Yeah.
Through that? Type in Batman Wildcats, because this is gonna bug me. Because he was just on he was on one of the Drawn and Quartered with us.
We should get him on here and see if he can clear it up.
And I think he might be doing a create your own book for us soon.
Right now. Let's see.
Was it Sergio? Carlos? Gosh darn, I feel really...
Ted Grant keeps showing up because he's actual Wildcat.
It's not him, I'm pretty sure.
Let me see. Batman Wildcats crossover. Come on.
Type in like one of our names if that helps.
Brandon Choi.
God, Brandon Choi, I haven't heard his name in a long time.
The Wildcats crossover or Wildcat?
Wildcat, the DC character. Yeah, Brandon Choi is the...
That's Wildcats.
Yeah, Wildcats.
Okay, let me see.
The covert action
Chuck
team.
Dixon. Wow, you guys would not believe Bo Smith. You guys would not believe how difficult this is to find the credits on here. When this loads, I will find it in a second.
He did caricatures of us too.
Really?
Yeah, I have one. Like we were like boxers, we're in like boxer shorts.
I saw that.
Yeah, and we had boxing gloves on.
We should post that as the let's see. I see your name on the cover. I'm just gonna look at the cover right now. I found it on the DC Wiki. 1997.
Yeah, so this was about that timeline.
Okay, Dixon, Bo, Carrillo?
It's Sergio though, right?
Doesn't have the first name.
I think his first name's Sergio.
I'll look him up. Sergio.
So I think they're the Cabrello or whatever.
Cabrillo. Anybody know?
That's why I was thinking Carlos. I think that's his last name.
Oh wait, did he do the Action Bible?
Yeah.
Yes, Sergio. Oh gosh, I think it's Carrillo pronounced.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think that's where I was getting the Carlos
He's
from.
pretty good.
He's great.
He's I haven't seen his stuff in a while, but I remember the Action Bible's actually kind of cool looking.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, Sergio. He's Brazilian American. I don't know if you want to see a picture of him to see if it'll...
That's the guy. Yeah, it's definitely the guy.
And he's very good.
And so he did the pencils, like loose pencils, and Jaime, Danny, and myself tightened them all up and did it. It was a pretty cool, jam. Like, each one of us did specific things based on our strengths. And so we only did those. We didn't, kind of dip into the other one's territory. So... I think one of us did structures, faces, and then rendering. I think Danny and I did a lot of the rendering. I think Jaime did a lot of the blocking of forms and shapes. And I think he did some brush work too, because we were doing some kind of crazy broken up blacks, like brush work. And... I did it on black and white first, and then at Extreme Studios, there were a lot of young, hungry guys, and so I think an inker named John Sabal, I remember this once, I was at home, and I think he inked a Rob Liefeld cover. It was Bad Rock or something like that, and he did that broken... line. I can't really describe it. It's kind of the way the blacks are broken up, and they're more kinetic than solid.
They look very organic, right? Like you can see the brush texture.
Yeah, and they're just kind of, I really don't know how to describe it. And he used that technique, and he just polished the hell out of it. And they were like, I forget, maybe Dan Frager or somebody called me and was like, Art, you got to get in the studio. You got to see this cover. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, John just kicked your butt with your own style.
You inspired him.
Yeah, so I worked with him too. So he was a diamond in the rough, and
That's an honor.
he inked some black and white stuff too, and he came over to Hack Shack after Extreme Studios kind of fell apart. So John's a good friend. He's a brilliant talent. He inked. I think it was the last one to ink. What is that guy's name? John. He did the Superman stuff with Jeff Johns. Gary Frank. Yeah, he inked a lot of Gary Frank stuff, and he inked that Jeff Johns Superman stuff. John did over Gary Frank's, or Gary Frank.
I think it's Frank.
Yeah.
Pope Fire says, Art, you should do a Starfire sometime for research purposes.
I should.
They're fighting over whether you should draw Raven or Starfire. Perfect name for black white Kim Possible crossover would be black and white and red all over.
Yes. What's the sitch?
By the way,
hey, Black, what's the sitch? Boop, boop, boop. Then Whitney gets all jealous, like, hey, wait a minute. You got communicators? Where's mine?
How come I don't get a communicator? She has the naked mole rat with her. Aw.
Oh my gosh.
Precious.
I actually got chills. We gotta make this happen.
I don't know. I see some similarities with Michael Turner as well. Art's work is pretty damn awesome.
Well, thank you.
Rhaegar says, just looked up Glenn Keane. I didn't know I already knew who he was through Disney. A great artist. Iconic even.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the dude's brilliant.
Cam says your fingers/hands are better to look at than EVS's.
What do they say? He's got toe thumbs?
They say he has toe thumbs.
Yeah, my fingers.
Looking back at the comments, I'm a big fan of Kim Possible, says Cam.
Cool. And Cam, black and white, right?
Visit Black and White, in demand on Indiegogo. Gonzo says, John Byrne's art never looked better than when Terry Austin inked him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you are so correct.
Cam says, Duck is the brand. Duct tape is the thing.
Okay.
That's confusing.
Those sons of bitches.
We're very split between duck and duct here. Who is taping ducks? I thought it was for air conditioning. Art should draw Disney princesses. Ooh. Actually, Art, I think you do pretty well doing. I think that you translate really well into that.
I talked to the Disney, some of the Disney galleries. They got these Disney galleries out here, and I believe there's a couple comic book artists that are in the Disney gallery. There's Franco Herrera, and he's got this cool, like, in his style, haunted mansion. I think he draws the stretching paintings. In his style, which are pretty cool. Maybe the Hitchhiking Ghost is some of the more iconic in his style. And then
that'd be a great drawn quartered.
Yeah.
Like the ghost that you could choose, because there's a couple of them, right?
Yeah, the Hatbox Ghost, and you could even do the Bride.
That would be cool.
Yeah, and so, gosh, I forgot what I was talking about.
Oh, sorry.
The Disney Gallery. Yeah, and I believe that our buddy Brian Miller?
Mike or Brian?
No, Brian Miller. You remember the guy that was coloring black and white?
Oh, yes, the very same.
Yeah, one of the 27 different people. Man, we've been on a crazy journey. In years from now, when we look back at this, it's gonna go like, I can't believe we did all that stuff.
I can't believe we had all those colorists.
Yeah, he's got those like
It taught me that we could only depend on each other.
Yeah. Prints, like Star Wars prints and stuff like that.
Ooh.
That he does. He sells them at conventions too, I believe.
I'm still stuck on the Disney princess thing. I'm trying to think of what princess I'd like to see you draw the most.
Oh my gosh, really? You got to think that hard?
Well,
who's your favorite?
Ariel's my favorite.
Yeah, there you go. That's who it'd have to be.
I wanted to get the chat to try to get on it, but yeah, I do really like Ariel.
Yeah, we can still hear what they wanted.
I actually have a really dorky Ariel shirt that I can't throw away that I used to wear in high school.
Are you kidding?
No, I still have it.
You gotta wear that.
I was throwing out a bunch of, it's totally like not my style, like I don't wear those kind of things, but I was throwing away old clothes and I saw that and I'm like, I can't bear to throw it away.
It means too much.
But yeah, that'd be cool. When art's open for commissions, one of you guys should spend an exuberant amount for Disney princesses.
You know what I would rather draw though, to be honest?
What?
Disney villains.
Ooh. Who's your favorite?
I think I would want to do Captain Hook.
Ooh, that's a good one. Strong design.
Cruella de Vil.
The Disney villains all have cool designs.
I think all of them are awesome.
I can't really think of any of them that, I guess like the only weak villain design I can think of, is, which even then among the cast it was a strong design, is the one from Pocahontas, but I didn't like the art direction of Pocahontas in general. Which, have you ever seen? Is that one of the only ones you skipped?
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah.
I couldn't remember. I knew that there was one Disney movie you hadn't animated. You hadn't.
The only
seen.
cartoon I've never seen, is what was it called?
Is it
the
Alice?
The Black Cauldron.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe I haven't. Maybe Alice in Wonderland. Maybe.
I'd be curious for you to see The Black Cauldron just to get your opinion on it. It was, I think, overambitious. Oh, Nathan is here. Nathan Rosario. Thanks for critiquing my artwork yesterday. I just wish I had been able to watch it live.
Oh my gosh, Nathan, that is such a killer style.
It was really good.
Yeah, hone the hell out of that style. The reason I said hell is because I was trying to really accent that you're close, man. You are so darn close. And I hope that it did help out. And always just remember, it's just my 2 cents. You know, it doesn't mean anything really. So discount it if so be it. But
Don't.
I really don't do it.
Don't do it.
I just think like sometimes like
they're not gonna discount it. They went to the effort of wanting to hear it.
Yeah, I don't know. I always think that it's a good disclaimer though. Like if it doesn't resonate with you, then discard it. But yeah, take it to heart, Nathan. Let it hurt you really bad.
That's what I'm getting at.
Roll around in it, wallow, and then pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, and prove me wrong. Because you suck, man. You need a lot of work, man. There are guys like that though. They think like, oh man, I gotta tear you down, so you know you're gonna get so mad at me that you're gonna try extra hard or something like that. I just don't really believe in that.
Yeah, I mean it's a form of motivation, but it's not one I would personally respond to.
I don't respond to it. I don't need somebody always telling me how great I am, although it does help. But yeah, I guess as long as it's constructive and not just criticism.
Yeah. Trusty Sidekick says, I loved the Kim Possible series, and I'm hoping the live-action movie is decent. Cam says, my expectations aren't that high for the Kim Possible live-action, but it might be fun.
Yeah, I feel the same. I kind of, sadly, sometimes well, not sadly. I just feel like on some of these projects, the time is past. Like, why are we bringing these things back? Like, I even heard that, you know, they're trying to resurrect Buffy the Vampire Slayer as a live action. And sometimes, well, it's always been a live action.
It'd be a cool animated, though, now that you mention it.
I think there was talk about doing it as an animated, but I just feel like it was a moment in time, it's so hard to capture lightning in a bottle again. And the problem with these ideas is that people have attachments to them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I'm sorry, I'm going to blast Frank Miller here for a minute.
Do it.
But like, do it. Hurt yourself, Art. Commit career suicide. Do it.
It's coming from a place of love, maybe.
Is, you know, his Dark Knight Returns and his Batman Year One are some of my favorite Batman stories of all time. I would say Year One is probably one of my favorite comic books of all time. And DC hired him to bring back Dark Knight Returns. It was like DK2 or something. Is that what it was called?
I never read that.
I never did either because I saw the promotional artwork for it. How do you kids say it? I cringed.
It was not good.
It was cringy, and it meant so much to me, and it had such an impact on my life as a fan and as a professional that I couldn't handle the thought of
it being bad.
Yeah, and there's an observation that I have about Frank Miller, and Frank Miller almost became a parody of Frank Miller, or he kind of is a parody of Frank Miller.
I 100% agree with you.
Now, the stuff that kind of the prosy stuff that he did in the past just doesn't hold up. Not that it doesn't hold up, but I mean the stuff that he's doing now doesn't really resonate or seem to work for me.
He lost it.
Yeah, and I think when I saw, I guess the beginning of it was that Spawn Batman thing, the crossover that he wrote.
I own that.
I do too, and I liked it for the time and things, but it had some stuff in there, like I said, that was very cringy.
Yeah.
And I saw the writing on the wall, or what would become the writing on the wall.
He started to kind of show that underbelly there.
Yeah, that he was kind of a parody, because there was this one, like, and they do it for dramatic purposes, but either it doesn't resonate with a contemporary audience, or it was just bad at the time. But it was kind of like, you know, I have to go in fast, and I have to hit him hardest, perhaps the hardest I've ever hit before in my life. You know where?
Sorry?
Well, yeah, he does like these dramatic like repeats, like, you know, the hardest.
I get it. Jeez.
You know, I've ever hit,
like...
and it just well, I was gonna explain why, but the laughter kind of already works. But there's a lot of that type of stuff in there, and at the time,
as a kid, if you read that, you're just like, oh my gosh, okay.
Well, I wasn't a kid, but the thing is, it was real obvious, and he does stuff like that for dramatics, but for some reason, I never saw it before. You know what I mean? Like sometimes when there's things that you like, and then there's one day you just look at it and you go, really? That's how it was? And you almost can't believe that you really bought into it or liked it. But at the time, I remember I was just like, you know what? There's a lot of money to be made at Image, and I know how a lot of people felt about Image. Trust me, you guys, when I make these connections with Comicsgate and Image, I'm not effing around, because there were people that absolutely hated Image Comics, but still begrudgingly came in just because the money was good.
Of course.
And this Comicsgate stuff is really strong, and it has a ton of potential to make money. Thank you guys for the 44K. We are well over 44K. Thank you so much. Taylor and I really, really want to get to 50K before we close the shop. So if we can make that possible, that'll be awesome.
That's our major goal, you guys.
Yeah, and thank you. I know that was a tangent, but like I said, the tangents are where the good stuff's at, like black and white. And so I thought at the time, I thought that, you know, Frank Miller's he's just cashing in. You know what I mean? And at the time, I was like, I don't blame him. The money's really good. Come in, phone in. this crossover and take your money and run. And so, but it was kind of an early writing on the wall, because I think later he definitely became that.
Yeah.
That DK2, that Batman All-Stars. That Batman
Oof.
All-Stars is almost unreadable.
Speaking of cringe.
Yeah, I hope I'm not stepping on anybody's toes, but I felt so bad for Jim, because in the early days, when I worked with Jim, you talk about your hopes and dreams and stuff, and he always wanted to work with Frank Miller. Frank Miller was a big idol of not only him, but myself as well. So, excuse me, it really kind of hurt when I saw Jim just killing it on that Batman All-Star.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, just killing it. The colors, the inks, everything was so amazing. And yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad stuff.
And the thing is, like, anybody who criticizes him for being involved, like, just think about what was on the table. Like, who would say no to that offer?
You mean Jim?
Yeah, like, because I've seen people before criticize, like, oh, like, why did he even get involved with that? And it's like, because on paper, like, working with one of your, like, heroes and stuff, like, who would say no?
Well, who would say no if, like, let's just say, I don't know, let's just say Stan Lee. It's a timely reference. God rest his soul. But, like, what if he came out and said, you know what, Bunky? I would really like to take a crack at black and white,
Oh my God, that'd be awesome.
Like, I mean, who would I be like to go, no, screw you, Stan, I don't want to work with you.
Stan, your latest work hasn't been that
Yeah,
great.
exactly. Like, you're just not quite up to the standards of black and white. Like, right? You don't say no to those things.
That would be an amazing story.
I wish it was true.
Sorry, Stan, if that is your real name. No.
I would never say no to it, right? Like, no. How do you say no to it? Yeah, I wouldn't. And it's pretty interesting. Now all of a sudden I'm thinking, like, man, that would be pretty killer, Stan Lee.
His take on Batman was absolutely insane, so I'd like to see what he'd do with, like, a black and white. What do you guys think Stan Lee would do with black and white? Is the real question.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tangents are a road in the conversation that are so interesting you forget where you're going, says Sketch. Yes.
Oh my gosh, we got to do a show with Sketch.
That was beautiful.
That's poetry, baby.
He also says Eddie McIncisor.
We're back on the Eddie Berganza. Oh, just for the record, guys, like, I don't know anything about what Eddie did. I don't know. I don't really follow it. All I know is that Eddie always treated me right. So he was always a good guy to me.
And let me be clear, I am not calling him that. That is what I read somebody called him, and I thought it was a ridiculous story, so don't credit me.
No, yours wasn't Eddie McSizer. That was me coming up with that. You called him, like, Eddie McClown.
No, it was Bitey the Clown, but
Bitey the Clown.
I never labeled him that. That was just something I heard. So
you should take credit for that.
I wasn't there. I don't know. I've never met the man. I'm not trying to make any
Wait a minute.
claims.
You never met Eddie McSizer?
No. No, Eddie McIncisor.
McIncisor.
By the way, Art, did you know that when you search Chrono Mechanics, not only does the website show up, but this fancy Amazon ad shows up? And it's pretty big.
What?
And it says, book by Art T. Bear, Pamela T. Bear. Look at, I'll show you. And it says, do you like this book? And people can
let me see. I gotta get my glasses.
It's a pretty good size, but when you show it looks very official when you search Chrono Mechanics.
Ooh, sweet Mama Jamma.
Do you want me to read the synopsis?
That cover, that piece of artwork right there is from the ash can.
Is it? Oh, yeah.
It says Chrono, though. I don't know what that's from.
Oh, you're right. It says Quantum in the art.
It says Quantum in the art, right?
Yeah, somebody must be selling the very original.
The ash can.
I'm going to read the Google Books synopsis.
Okay, this should be fun.
You may have already realized that time is a fickle mistress.
That's true.
It can fly, crawl, or even stand still. What you don't realize is that these are the symptoms of quantum malfunctions. Time is actually a big machine, one that needs the constant attention of a special breed of repairmen called quantum mechanics. What the heck? We gotta update this. Exceptional individuals handpicked from throughout history because of their diverse skills and attributes. Team 9.2 of Sector 7 is comprised of individuals like Oot, parentheses, caveman, Caravaggio, inventor, Zin, child of the gem, and Doug, a rock god. Of course, their methods are a bit unorthodox, but they never fail to get the job done.
Oh, that's definitely like the ash can.
It says it's 96 pages.
I think pitch. 96 pages.
Maybe it means that there's 96 for sale. I don't know. It says Chrono Mechanics Volume 1. Interesting.
Maybe because we did a trade of it.
I think that synopsis needs an update. Who do I talk to?
I think that's the one that we used originally for the ash can and selling the series.
Like the overall series pitch.
Yeah, at the beginning, because I believe we streamlined that down. It's fun, but it's a little wordy.
Rhaegar says, now imagine growing up watching Batman the Animated Series. That was amazing.
That was a great series.
And I did grow up watching that.
I remember this was early on, and TV Guide actually did interviews, and it was a magazine, and I don't know if you guys remember TV Guide, but it was how you could see your programs, and it would be an index for all the shows that were on that week. And it was a magazine that came out every week. And so they would do interviews in there, and also specialty covers, which I've done a couple, like for Spider-Man and stuff, and X-Men. But they used to do interviews, and I remember it was about the time that the first Burton films were coming out. And so the interviewer was talking about the animated, and they even then said that they should have had that writing team and those creative people like Bruce Timm and Paul Dini writing and working on the movie stuff.
Oh, I agree with that.
And that was in the day. And you know what? I don't know why film, like big screen film, they just don't give those guys any credit. Like, oh, well, you're TV or you're animated or you're whatever. Those stories were great. And
yes.
you're not going to find anybody in this world that knows those characters better than those two guys.
I agree 100%.
And my gosh, could you imagine a film franchise with those two guys at the helm?
Some of the best like Batman storytelling ever is in that show.
They understood the villains, and there's one thing, and I do believe it was for the animated, was the reworking of Clayface. Clayface was not that interesting before, and I know you guys, they kind of did the Sandman beat from Spider-Man, but I feel like the design and everything was pretty unique unto itself.
Love that design.
And man, when I saw that, I was
Terrifying.
floored. And I started thinking like how visually cinematic it was and how it could have worked.
Scared the crap out of me as a kid.
And then this is the part about Warner Brothers, and that it really bugs me, because there was a promise when Zack Snyder came on for Batman that it seemed like it was going to be a hybrid between like Chris Nolan's Batman and the kind of gimmicky, kind of gizmo, more, I guess, superhero comics Batman. And it was none of those things. It was some kind of amalgam of, I don't even know if it was an amalgam. It was, I'm just going to say it, Zack Snyder is a hack. That guy. Zack the Hack. That guy blows serious chunkage, and I never ever want to see that guy handle a superhero property ever again, unless it's a character that I don't like, which there's very few superhero characters that I don't like. So that just wouldn't happen. Oh, I think my wife's downstairs.
Do you want me to run and grab
Yeah,
the phone?
can you grab the phone?
Yeah, hold on a sec.
And if she says pick up food, ask her, just tell her yes.
Okay.
So yeah, I was really let down because I thought, you know, when Ben Affleck came in and all that, I kind of thought that it was going to be more of like a gimmicky Batman, because I think he even said something about like he was going to have more gizmos and stuff like that. And I liked that idea. I liked like the themed James Bond kind of aspects to Batman, you know, where he's got a tool for every job and you know, all that stuff. And I didn't want it to be like corny where it's the Bat-a-rang and
I didn't make it in time. Should I call her?
Yeah, please. You know, where it's the Bat-a-rang and, you know, everything's called the Bat Shield and the Bat this and that. Not like that, but some kind of hybrid between those two ideas, like the Nolan and the more comic booky kind of gizmo Batman. And yeah, we just got this sad, hopeless, disgusting Batman from that guy. And yeah, it was pretty big letdown for me. And I thought that Ben Affleck was an okay choice when I saw the outfit, you know, the outfit and everything, and the way he looked in it. I thought it was a pretty good fit because he was kind of like the Frank Miller Dark Knight kind of body style, the thick, you know, older Batman, which I didn't mind at the time. I think it played out pretty badly, but the idea itself wasn't bad at first. And then
Sorry, I'm sending her a text.
Now having hindsight on it, I really think if they're going to recast, that they should do more of a Batman year one. I don't know why they went with an older Batman anyway. I think Zack Snyder's... Okay, I'm just going to say it. I think Zack Snyder's stupid. I think he's a dumb idiot. Because who launches a new franchise with an older guy? Like... And then doesn't have any better way of explaining how that guy fits into the universe.
There was definitely like a lack of a plan.
Yeah, and how do you make the character interesting unless you really play him up as the grizzled vet, like the Batman Beyond type of character, where he's almost mentoring, you know, Superman or like the Flash and stuff. And they kind of did some of those things in the Justice League movie.
Why cast someone who's almost 50 and then not do that?
Right. But the reason why I say that he's stupid and he's an idiot is because where's the growth potential, man? It's a franchise. He is an older guy. How many more movies can you do with this guy?
I heard he might be out soon too, so
yes, yeah, I don't know. And then how many missteps can you take before your audience just gives up on you? You know, before the audience just goes, "Oh, really, Warner Brothers? You want me to get excited about another actor playing Batman or whatever, you know, reboot or changes that you're going to bring in?" I just think that these are missteps, and you're only going to get maybe one or two chances to engage an audience. And if you keep misstepping like this, because I know for me, I'm already checking out. I'm so close to checking out on the DC franchise. It's not funny.
Well, when there's more bad than like good results, even if it's super polarizing, like how are you expecting to keep that audience? Like they're gonna follow you after 2 critical failures?
Yeah.
When do you give up? It's really hard to win somebody back after that.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, one of the good things, I thought Justice League, and I know this is probably not popular, but I thought Justice League wasn't a bad movie. I'm not going to say it's a great movie, but it wasn't a bad movie. And I think there was more good in that movie than there was bad. And the reason, I'm contributing the good to Joss Whedon, and I'm giving the bad over to Zach the hack, just because I don't like Zach's work, so I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt at all. I'm not. Even if it was something that was really good that I found out that he did, I would still denounce it just because I don't like that guy at all. I think he doesn't get superheroes. I don't think he understands them very well, and he does not. He's not a hopeful guy, and I think even as dark as Batman is, I think he's still a hopeful guy. Like, he goes to the darkness, but he's still really thinking that he's going to help humanity, or he's going to save mankind, or whatever it is. That he's still on some level hopeful, but that Superman that he created and Batman, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Let's see. Chicken Sith says, I kind of live for the eventual black and white crossover with Lone Star. Something about you second gen image guys.
Yeah, I'm open to all the above. I just wish, this is my biggest wish in life, that I did have a time machine, not to go back, but just to
repair the machine known as time.
No, just give myself more time. And I don't mean like, oh, I'm old and I'm dying, even though I am.
No.
So back black and white before it's all said and done.
Here, I'll post the link.
Make an old man's dream come true. No, it's just so I could do all these things, you know? So I have time to make sure that I can do all these things. You know, what was that in Harry Potter that I don't like when they get into time stuff in these movies, unless it's specifically about it. But remember in Harry Potter, they had like that one character had like, I don't know, I want to say the Horcrux. I don't know anything about that stuff, but it was some like she had this time like device that she could go back in time, and then all they did was go back in time, and they spied on.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Like
they just spied on past events.
Yeah, and then they I guess to find out who said it or who did it or whatever it was. And I'm like, okay, this is why like you got to be real careful. And the Marvel Universe has brought time travel now into it. You got to be real careful. Like Chrono Mechanics is about time travel, and it is played for fun, for humor. But when you bring stuff like that into like a supposed real world, man, there's so many ways. There's so many ways that can go bad. It's not funny. And just case in point, that last Terminator movie, like, come on, man. Like, you just crapped on every conceivable point and concept idea that you developed.
That's why you got to be careful with that. Like, that's a big element to bring into just a story that's not about it.
Yeah, because what happens is, and that's why these ideas, unless they're like Rick and Morty or something that's played, or Chrono Mechanics has played it for a gag, is eventually, especially in an ongoing scenario, you're going to get yourself into trouble. You are going to get yourself into trouble. It's inevitable that it's going to happen. And so I just feel like in that last Terminator, I know we're all over the place, but whatever. It's fun.
For it.
It's fun.
Yeah, we're really organized here. Don't deviate too far.
We definitely had a plan going into this. Yeah, we're just drawing and hanging out. And by the way, Taylor is doing remastering. So she's got her laptop. So she cleans up the old lines, and she sometimes some of this stuff isn't drawn in perspective correctly. So she's correcting perspective and different things. as we go. So she's actually doing artwork as well as reading the chat. So I know I didn't establish that.
If you're wondering what I'm contributing besides laughing really loud about calling people names.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that.
But I think like I don't know. One of my pet peeves is when in movies or storytelling in general they throw time travel in and act like it's a minor thing that you can just like throw into a story. Like time travel is a hard thing to throw into a story when it's not like a primary part of a story.
Yeah, and Terminator, it kind of is part of the story.
I'd say it's a big part.
But when you do it like the last one where they kind of had a time machine, and well, they did have a time machine.
Yeah.
But they established that it could go back and forth. And so now, instead of just a one-op, you could go back, but you have to stay there like John Connor, right? Like, what was his name? Was it John Connor? Who was the guy that Reese?
I think, yeah.
Kyle Reese.
I never remember his name.
So Kyle Reese went back, but it was like a one-way ticket. And so when the Terminator went back, it was a one-way ticket as well. So there was no chance for back and forth interaction. Like they couldn't go back to the future and then come back to the past and back and forth. And so even back to the Future, the first one, they created like it was kind of a one-way ticket. Like he couldn't get back because the machine broke. So they established early on that it wasn't like he could bop back and forth and it would just be like going to the corner store. It was way more than that, and that car was not going to even maybe make it back to his time, because of the flux capacitor, and they needed more power and all that other stuff. So you have to set up all these things in the story. But in that last Terminator, they were just saying that they could go back and forth. So like the Terminator's like, I'll see you in 20 years, and so somehow like he could communicate to his 20-year, or he aged 20 years, and so then he was in the future to hang out with her, and then the villain, right, he could somehow bop back and forth. And so anyways, it just became a weird cluster F of an idea. But the biggest problem was that if you can go back willy-nilly, then everything becomes up for grabs.
It kind of
everything's
the whole concept.
Well, everything's pointless because let's just say you go back and you're going to assassinate Hitler, but somebody just after you did it brought him back to life, and then he still existed, and then you found out about it, and then you know what I mean? Like then you could go back again and go back further, or then hang out with him at 10 years old now. And so then you have another chance to kill him then. And so then you do that and you botch the job again or whatever. That's what these things become. And what happens is that if you could go back at any time and right your wrong, then nothing is important. That moment in time is just, it's less important than you know what I mean? The reason life is important is because you have a moment, like this moment that we're sharing with you guys. Yeah, we're never going to have this time again. So you guys suck this up.
You cherish when we talk about
when we talk to you guys, when we talk about Eddie Overbite or Clown.
Overbite the clown.
The clown. Underbite, Yeah. Whenever we go off on these tangents, you guys cherish these moments. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like Taylor, like it just nothing's special anymore, because if you could alter time at will, then all those moments aren't special. And so those first two Terminator movies, I never count the third one because it's like, or the third and fourth. What? There are 5 of them now. Yeah, the third and fourth one were just kind of.
It's kind of like debatable whether they're even in canon too, because I don't even know. I don't know what the current where the current timeline really lies with that series.
But the thing is, none of it even matters, because they've crapped on the point so bad that if they could just drop themselves in any moment in time, then none of it even matters. You know what I mean? It's just a corner, like, here you go. Here's a quote from Stitch in Time. It's a cornucopia of disturbing concepts. That was a Ron Stoppable line from Kim Possible.
I like that.
Yeah, because they do get into time travel. But once again, that's fun. It's a silly cartoon. But these are, you're supposed to think this is real, like the Terminator stuff and all that. And it does. It does become like a cornucopia of disturbing concepts. Like, if anything can happen, and time travel can do these aspects, or have these aspects, then nothing is important. Nothing matters. It's just a moment.
There's no stakes.
Right. There's just a moment in time that you can undo. Oh, he's dead. Well, guess what? I'm going to go back in time before he was shot, and I'll save him. Oh, okay. Then that moment in time isn't special and doesn't matter.
Nothing really, like, there's, I don't know.
None of it matters. That's what I'm trying to say. None of it matters. You poo-poo all the ideas.
And that's why you can't do that stuff, like, I don't know. You can't do that stuff and expect people to still be invested in the story. At some point, people are just going to lose all investment.
Because it's silly. Because at some point, even the people that aren't really paying attention will start going, this is pointless. Or didn't we see this before? Because then it does become like almost like a time loop kind of idea where it all just becomes a time loop. Nothing matters. I think Planet of the Apes did it well. I think there are examples of it done well. But, oh, this is too big.
Do you need to grab the...
I think I have a smaller one here. But thanks.
Let's see.
I just have to go through my template drawer. This is my well-loved template. I think I've shared this one. I call him Bernie.
Aww.
I shared Bernie with you before. He's kind of busted up. He's seen a lot of love.
Works.
He's inked many comics. I think this dates back to X-Men days.
Really?
It's historical.
Historic of the old Marvel times.
Old Marvel days.
Speaking of old Marvel days, Chicken Sith says, "What are the odds we can get Bart Sears over here?"
Oh man.
I know it has nothing to do with.
Let's bring in some time travel Simpsons. Let's do a black and white Simpsons crossover.
Bart Sears did all the, like, I only know him from, like, Turok.
Bart Sears?
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking Bart Simpson.
No, Bart Sears. He did, I gotta look it up, because I only remember his work on Turok. Legend of the Dark Knight, Manowar, Turok, The Helm. I don't know a lot about him, I'm sorry to say, chat.
He did Brutes and Babes. Yeah, actually, you guys, I've been trying to get Andy Smith, do an interview with Andy Smith on Hacks Chats. So he said he would. We just got to get the time right to do it. Schedule-wise. Cool. Yeah, I'm trying to line this up. It's not lining up. I probably should have drawn this with a template.
Let's see. Let me explain. There are 2 Terminator movies. The rest is a bad dream.
Exactly.
Also, that's probably why I can't get into Doctor Who, says Rhaegar. Yeah, Doctor Who is hard because it's like different realities and stuff too, so it really makes things seem kind of... I don't know. There's people being erased from existence. There's all kind of stuff. That's why I didn't like the ending of Deadpool 2. Rhaegar says it was all pointless.
Oh, yeah. They did the time travel ending, too. Yeah, but at least what they did that was smart is it was a one-off. So it's not like Cable has a bunch of time travel devices, you know. Although those girls did fix the one, so could they fix it again or could they use it again? I don't know, but I thought that they kind of set it up that it was a one-off. because Cable couldn't go back.
Yeah, it was like a one-time thing. Sorry, you guys. There's a lot going on in the chat. I'm trying to scroll through. Yeah, I forgot. At least they built in that it was like a limited thing.
Yeah, because I think Cable gave him that device so he could save, or he could save himself, right? Or they could save him.
Yeah.
And then, wait a minute.
No, because it was like he had one last... It broke, right? And then there's like a gag. They had it fixed.
Oh, that's right. So
That's
in the story proper, that's right.
Oh, that does kind of crap on
Yeah,
the
so
point.
now he can use it whenever. So it's not broken. Wait, I don't... You know what? I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with the chat now. It wasn't pointless.
Yeah, for some reason, those mutant chicks were able to, like, fix a time machine from the future. And doesn't that change everything? I know that that Deadpool is kind of a silly concept and we're not supposed to scrutinize it too much. But, yeah, if there's a time travel device in Deadpool, then guess what? It's no holds barred. Anything could happen.
TC says, is there a way to upgrade tiers at this point? I would like to upgrade to the ultimate tier.
Ooh, you're talking my language.
You could send, if you want, maybe send an email, and we'll see if we can work that out. I know it's kind of hard to change tiers and stuff after you've already pledged.
Yeah, you know what? If you haven't, well, I'll let you tell him to sign up for the newsletter and that he can go to the website.
Yeah, if you go to artbytbear.com, we have a newsletter there, and if you sign up, it's the best way to keep up to date on any information regarding Indiegogos, regarding site news, sales, etc. And there's also a contact link there if you want to speak.
Yeah, so contact me through the website, and we can have a private conversation and not bore everybody with all this. But yeah, we can definitely do that. We can work that out for you.
Just hit us up.
Yeah, and that would be great because we did just add the ultimate tiers with the print, right?
There's an exclusive mini print you could only get through the ultimate tier. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, if you go to the site, you'll be able to see it there.
Let's see.
The Indiegogo site, I mean.
Yeah, the black and white Indiegogo. Art is the father of all starfires, and Tag is the drunk ant. I don't know why I earned the drunk ant title.
You're slurring
but it's accurate.
You're slurring right now.
Let's see.
She's not slurring.
I am a backer of black and white, and I look forward to it.
Well, thank you so much.
Cam wants to know, how was your trip to Disneyland?
Oh, it's good. I have some photos that I wanna post up, and Taylor, there's I shouldn't say it here because everybody will go see it and then they won't watch ours. There's some updated stuff on Galaxy's Edge, and I took some pictures too.
Ooh, let's do that in the next video. If you guys didn't hear, we're debating doing a Disney themed show. Don't run away yet. Mostly about theme parks, but I guess all encompassing. Art knows a lot about Disney history regarding the theme parks and stuff, and I think it's interesting to listen to. Do you want me to grab that pen?
I got it.
Something went flying.
It was my pen.
We wanted to call it Walt's Vault.
Walt's Vault.
We've been talking a lot about the new Galaxy's Edge and stuff a lot, so we're thinking of giving it a formal name. I'll probably do a little logo. And if you want to follow us as we follow the building of the new Galaxy's Edge and stuff, then tune into Walt's Vault.
Yeah, there's a lot of new stuff going up. That Galaxy's Edge is going to be amazing.
Could you see more from without giving spoilers?
I wouldn't say more, but I got to see it firsthand. So you get to see the scale and the scope of everything and where it relates and how it relates to everything else. And there's I believe there's going to be three ways into it. So it's not, how like Toontown, when they add to things that aren't on the central hub at these amusement parks, never go to Magic Mountain here in California unless you want to go to a lot of cul-de-sacs.
That's so true.
Like, oh, here's a ride. Walk a mile up this hill to the, and then go on one ride and then walk all the way back down the hill. Yeah, that's Magic Mountain. Disney has one cul-de-sac, and it's kind of, I think it's that what is it called? Mickey's Toontown?
Yeah, I think there is no other way out of there, huh?
Yeah, it's like the same. It's one way in and one way out.
It's at least wide, so at least you can kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, if you go up one side of the street and then down the other side of the street, at least Disney gives you things like that. If you walk on one side, there's stuff to do, and then on the other side, there's stuff to do. Unlike Magic Mountain, where it really is just a pathway.
When you're trapped.
And there's nothing to do for like the mile that you're hiking up it to go on a roller coaster or something. Just it's poor planning.
Disney should buy Magic Mountain and turn that into like a bigger Star Wars land.
Well, the thing is, Warner Brothers, I don't know if they still own it, but Warner Brothers, the thing is, people don't understand. Like, Warner Brothers actually owns amusement parks, which is like, well, why aren't... Disney buys up Marvel and then creates a Marvel park, and Warner Brothers owns Six Flags, or did, I don't know if they still do, and they do nothing. Absolutely nothing. They have other roller coasters, and they go, oh, this is the Batman Adventure ride. It's just a roller coaster. They put Batman's logo on it. Yeah, it has nothing to do with really Batman or anything. So, anyways, I went off on a tangent because tangents are the best thing ever.
They're the pit stops of the road trip of life. Whatever Sketch said, that was way better.
Thanks, Sketch. But that the Galaxy's Edge, it's not gonna be a cul-de-sac. You go in wherever you go in at, and then you can come out the other end. So you know where that I don't know if you guys, because I know that this goes out to people that don't live in California as well, but the California Anaheim Disney Park, if you haven't been there, this is you're not going to get this, but there's a place called, it's Critter Country, and there's that Hungry Bear restaurant, Taylor.
Oh yeah,
that's right on the waterfront there. Well, they built a whole new pathway, so there's like, they built, I guess, into the water, where the water was. So there's a big pathway that takes you all the way, and then there's a tunnel underneath the train tracks. So the Galaxy's Edge, if you don't know Disney and stuff, there's, I'll just draw it, I can erase it. There's like a central hub. Let me move this down. Like, Disney's kind of like laid out like this. And so there's a central hub here, and then all the parks or the different lands are kind of in here. So if you come in the door here, the gate, you can basically walk all the way around and not see the same thing twice. I mean, you can go back and forth, but if you just walked straight across, you can go to everything without backtracking. And then there's a central hub here, so everything connects back to the castle. So if you wanted to take a shortcut, you could go through the castle over here, or vice versa, anywhere you want to go. So it's laid out really smart. But Critter Country is kind of like over here. And this line right here is the train track that takes you around the park. But very few attractions. I don't think any attractions that you can really walk in go beyond the train track. Like, the reason you go under, like you drop down in Pirates, is because you're going under the train track. So that's why there's that little flume, that water drop.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Because it takes you under the railroad tracks. So, and then the reason you come back up at the end is you're coming back up to the surface. So that's kind of that. So the real Pirates attraction building is on the other side of the train tracks. And so the Haunted Mansion is the same thing. So the reason you go down an elevator is because you're going under the railroad tracks to get to the other side of the tracks. So it's a pretty smart, neat thing that they built in to the attraction. So it's kind of disorienting too, because you like you look at the outside of those buildings, you know, that's not big enough to house that. You know what I mean? So the housing of the actual attraction, you can't even see. It's on the other side of the tracks. So it's hidden.
Ooh,
So
that's pretty cool.
it's a pretty cool idea. So anyways, I don't know if you can see this, Taylor, but this is like, there's that Hungry Bear restaurant or whatever.
I can see it now.
But yeah, there's a little pathway that goes like this, and then it goes under the tracks, the train tracks again. And so then you go in this direction. Man, my stomach's growling.
I know, I heard that one.
Is this right here? Galaxy's Edge.
T-Bear Cafe.
Star Wars, baby. Right in here. So you can come down this path and around, and then you can walk through all of Star Wars Land or Galaxy's Edge, and then over in Frontierland, there's an exit or an entrance. I think you can come and go in these things,
depending on how crazy it gets, probably once.
Or just what direction you're going in in the park. If you're going left to right or right to left. And so then it comes out here. So you can basically walk in and walk out from a different entry and exit way. So you don't have to backtrack on the ride. And so it's the first park, I think, or land that's been built beyond the train track. So it's pretty darn cool. Yeah, Disney's pretty smart with that stuff.
Let me see. Yeah, I trust them when it comes to engineering that kind of stuff. Tim and Deanie should have been in charge of the Snyder DCEU.
Yes.
Agreed.
I agree.
I disagree about Zack Snyder. His Superman sucks, but his Watchmen was great.
Yeah, I meant the DCU stuff.
Yeah. Like
Watchmen, I know they're trying to incorporate it to DCU because, was it 300 or whatever? Wasn't bad.
Rhaegar says, is it fair to say Zack Snyder's themes in hero movies are nihilism? I think so.
Oh, yeah. I read an article with him. He says he doesn't believe in altruism. Well, you don't have to believe in it, buddy. It does exist. You can be cynical, and you can say that nobody would sacrifice themselves for the greater good or for their fellow man. Well, that's just cynicism, because I know that people will do that. And the reason I know that is because I would trade my life, not to get all like deep or whatever, but I would easily trade my life for my families in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even question it. And so if I would do it, and I know that there's a lot of other fathers and even mothers that would do that, trade their lives for loved ones, that there is that type of altruism where you would sacrifice yourself for a greater good. And even if it didn't, like if you were that cynical and that was your belief, that's not what these stories are about. You know, he says Superman's S is for hope. Well, not that Superman. An altruistic Superman that would trade his life for the greater good. That's a hopeful Superman.
There are people who make careers like based on altruism. Like, I don't think anybody becomes like a fireman or something. Like.
Yeah, well, I don't know how you would explain, because Zack Snyder says, well, they're just doing their job. So if you're in the military, you're just doing your job. Or if you're a cop, you're just doing your job. You're doing your job. There's safer ways of doing your job. Like,
there's lots of jobs out there that don't put your life on the line for others.
Right. So there's another component that your cynicism is not compensating for, which is if it's just for the paycheck, then why would they be putting themselves in harm's way to that extent? It doesn't make any sense. Just for money?
Nathan says, it seems like Zack Snyder's instincts about superheroes are all wrong. Draken says, Snyder has never produced anything I like that I can remember.
If you want to see a really hopeless movie and a movie that doesn't understand action adventure or these type of stories, watch that Sucker Punch. That is such a sad, depressing look at just hero adventure that I think I've ever seen. It is so hopeless and so convoluted with, I don't know, his intellectual sadness.
That movie is purely him, and it's really bad.
I mean, he says it's about female empowerment. that movie is the furthest thing I've ever seen from female empowerment.
They all get raped and die. The movie.
Yeah, you can spin it and try to say whatever you want, but I watched that. I bought that movie.
There's an angry, perverted butcher that literally looks like a pig in the movie. He was like grunts and like terrorizes the girls in the movie.
Yeah, I don't understand how that is female empowerment or heroic in any way, shape, or form. It's a sad beatdown. It's pretty depressing. And then if it's about empowerment, doesn't that main character die at the end?
Yeah, she gets lobotomized.
Oh,
so
well, yeah, she pretty much, yeah.
Can we just get a Justice League Unlimited movie already? Says Chicken Sith. That would be, I don't know, that would be quite an undertaking.
That's with all those characters, right?
That's like all of them, yeah. Cam says, Young Justice, in my view, is the best JLA I've seen. I loved Young Justice.
Yeah. All those cartoon guys get it right.
They're all better, yeah.
Yeah.
Whedon sucks. People hating on Whedon.
Yeah, I'm not gonna overly praise him, but he does have moments. I have to give the devil his due. He does have moments.
Mac says, it's one of the reasons I enjoy following the Comicsgate creators' work. I'm ready for a new universe of superheroes at this point.
And you're going to get it, my friend. Spread the word. Get this word out to people. As long as we can keep getting books into your hands and the commerce can continue and build, then that's exactly what's going to happen, because that is where my heart's at. That's where Taylor's heart's at. And everybody that I talk to in Comicsgate, they all say the same thing. That's exactly where they want to be.
Yeah, you guys are kind of voting with your dollars to help make this happen.
Yeah.
I want to see if Marvel has guts. Have the remaining Avengers go to try to stop Thanos from the snap and either still fail or succeed, but add the butterfly effect.
Okay, what is the butterfly? That's a movie I have to see, but I know it's a saying, it's a term.
It's a movie
for time travel, right?
Yeah, it's a movie I really loved when I first saw it. It kind of doesn't hold up that well.
It's the Ashton Kutcher movie, right?
Yeah.
I think I never saw it just because I like him, but
the butterfly effect
in that movie.
The butterfly effect itself, I'm just going to read the definition because I'm going to butcher it. It's in reference to chaos theory. It's the phenomenon whereby localized change in a complex system can have large effects elsewhere. So, it's like...
It's a ripple in time.
Exactly, it's a ripple in time. You make a small effect, it makes big changes.
Okay. And the butterfly is just because butterflies, they change. Like, you go from one form to another?
I think it refers to that the saying where it's like, if a butterfly flaps its wings here, it could cause a giant hurricane.
Oh, okay.
The thing is, what's weird about Marvel, not weird about Marvel, but they're really into, like, multiverses. So it'd be, I don't know, the problem with, like, the whole butterfly effect thing is if you're dealing with multiverses, it kind of works differently, because this is why I hate dealing with this kind of stuff. Because, like, if you make a change and then it just creates multiple universes, you probably won't even experience those changes because you're in a separate universe from the original you that started anyway.
Yeah, the best thing, like, using these time travel ideas that I've ever seen, and I know there's a lot of controversy with this, but personally, I thought it was pretty genius, is Star Trek. Mm-hmm. The way the new Star Trek franchise, and I hope they keep going because I do like those movies and I like all the cast and everybody behind the scenes that's working on that, is that it's there was a villain that messed with time.
Uh-huh.
And so I forget, it was plausible for a science fiction story. I can't remember the details, but anyways, what it is because of the time travel aspects, this guy changed the trajectory of the Star Trek characters of the Enterprise. So and their world, but you know, we mainly follow those characters.
Yeah.
So what happens is that they get to do a reboot. So they get to is that called a soft reboot? I don't know what they call that, but it's a reboot, but it's not like a reimagining of the original. It's based on the original, so they're saying all those original ideas and all those stories that you know still happen.
Alternate universe,
but
right?
but it's alternate. Yeah, it's a different timeline. And also in that movie, they're very smart. And they got Leonard Nimoy in before he died, which was a blessing to do.
Yeah.
Is because they actually have those original characters in that story. So that reality, that TV show reality, it does exist.
It's smart.
In that world. They're not saying it doesn't. And by having the older actor come into the story, there's a manifestation, a visual of that idea. If they're not just hypothetically saying it, they're actually showing it. That's Leonard Nimoy from the TV show. And if they were smart, I don't know if it becomes like Star Wars where they just have a cameo and kill the character, cameo and kill the character.
Oh,
but
gosh, I hate that.
But you know, like rhythmically, like, oh, it's Luke Skywalker dead. Oh, it's Han Solo dead. You know,
you don't want to see Lando anytime soon.
Dead. Yeah. So you know what I mean? Like don't do it that obviously, but you know, what's his name? William Shatner still is alive, and I think he'd still be willing to do something.
I think he still has chops enough to do it.
It would be cool to see him kind of come into a story idea, or to use that character or that actor in some form, even if it's just like they mention him from another timeline or some. I don't know. I don't have any ideas right now of how they could do it, but I think it's a really, really neat idea. And I kind of study these time travel concepts to see if they kind of poo-poo on themselves. And so far, I haven't seen any flaws in that idea, because we're really just following an alternate timeline of Star Trek. And I think that Star Trek is a concept that can...
It lends itself.
Yeah, that it fits into that very easily. I don't think Star Wars...
No.
I don't think Star Wars can introduce like time travel and those kind of heady ideas. But Star Trek is a concept that can, and I think that it was pretty brilliant bringing that idea into it as a way to reboot the franchise. I thought it was genius, and I thought that they executed it very well. I know that there are true Trekkie fans that
don't. Yeah, I've heard a lot of backlash to it from them.
Yeah, that don't like it, and especially with Khan, that you know, they can't see that Khan would, I don't know, somehow be the Ricardo Montalban Khan. So I do agree there that they kind of do jump the shark there. That it felt like that wasn't even close to the original
I can agree
Khan.
with that, yeah. But
not just in actions, but also just visuals and everything else. But I thought it was an interesting take, and I did enjoy it. If you don't, you know, I'm not that attached to those ideas like Star Trek, so it doesn't bug me that much.
That's why it's hard for me to weigh in, because I'm really detached from Star Trek.
Yeah, it's not a concept that I have any kind of skin in the game. I do like it, but I'm not that crazy into it as much as I am, like, say, Star Wars.
Yeah. That being said, Nathan says, they introduced time travel into Star Wars with the Rebels, and to quote the films, I have a bad feeling about this. You really can't with Star Wars because there's so much predestination stuff in it.
It just doesn't... the idea doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Anybody
Not
that's...
with Star Wars.
Okay, we used to, in this industry, we used to say, what was it, 3 things. When you know, like, a sitcom, a book, cartoon, whatever... When it's officially over is when they marry characters, you know, when you have no more ideas,
yeah.
When you've bottomed out. Time travel, and what is the other one?
Space or something?
Is it space? Yeah, there's like 3 things that are like taboo. Like you launch the character out to space, you get them married, or I think a baby is one of them too.
Yes.
Like you have the characters
Definitely.
have a baby. There's usually those are kisses of death for a franchise or an idea. And so I think as Star Wars, especially this early on, is bringing in time travel. Come on, man, give it 10 more years or something when you've maxed out all the cool ideas, and then bring in something like that. But don't do that now.
Let's see. Sorry, you guys, my internet crashed briefly, so I'm having trouble reading some of the old chat stuff. But somebody said, Hardware says, the Flash show had time travel in it and had alternate planets. It was really tough to keep up with. It does become very daunting. Terminator flowed into Back to the Future. Time travel doesn't belong in Star Wars. I agree.
I totally agree.
The last Terminator broke its own Chrono Mechanics.
Yeah, it's broken. Yeah, the mechanics need to go in there and fix it. Yeah.
Terminator Genesis was the worst Bill and Ted movie.
That movie is laughable, right?
It really is. Baron Unterbite.
But I think that they simplistically looked at the Star Trek franchise and was like, hey, we could do the same thing. But the thing is, the Star Trek franchise lends itself to those ideas. And when they recreated the universe, they didn't say that they were going to go back and forth in time.
No.
They just said, this is the new path for these characters. That's it. And so then what they did is they ended the time travel. Like they couldn't travel through time anymore. So what they did specifically, which was cool, is that wasn't... I think the reason that they can't use other Star Trek characters as well, now that I think about it, is they rescued, or that, oh, that's what it was. That's why it's so smart. The Leonard Nimoy Spock was saved.
The universe got destroyed or something, right?
His universe was destroyed, or that his race was destroyed.
In his world, the planet, yeah.
Yeah, but in his world, they still exist. But the thing is, what the villain did is he wanted him to see. He wanted, like Spock to see it. So he spared him. He pulled him out of his timeline.
That's right.
So he could witness all that. So the reason he's in that new timeline is because the villain wanted him basically to watch what he had done. Because he blames Spock and Star Command or Starfleet for what happened. So then that's why... So the only character from the past Star Trek storyline that exists in that present is Spock.
How do you feel about this, Art? I kind of know how I feel about it, but if they make it to where they beat Thanos and everything goes back to normal with no serious consequences, it will not be cool.
Oh no. It's too much of the easy fix, right? Like, they can't do that.
I feel like there won't be consequences because there being consequences is more of a DC move. And I feel like Marvel is just gonna kind of... I don't foresee them having any really huge consequences. I don't know.
All they'll do, what they'll do as far as consequences is there won't be any, if you guys are asking, like time travel consequences or any of that stuff, I don't think there's going to be any of those. I think what Marvel's going to do is they're just going to, so it seems like there's consequences, is they're going to kill characters.
Yeah.
So some of the characters just won't come back.
Like Drax.
Yeah, so Drax, because he put his foot in his mouth, defending somebody who shouldn't have been defended.
12 Monkeys.
Oh my gosh! 12 Monkeys is so good.
That's one of the better time travel stories.
That's one of my favorite time travel stories.
What if Bart Sears is just Bart Simpson who's traveled in the past
there you
and
go.
reality?
There you go.
Apparently Bart worked on Justice League Europe and it was awesome. I never read the Justice League Europe one.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Yeah, I never read it. Let's see. Terminator 3 is Rise of the Machines. That one is bad. Terminator 4 is Salvation. I like that one. That's almost Sam Worthington.
That's the best one outside of the Cameron movies. I will agree.
Yeah.
At least it doesn't really poo-poo any of the ideas. Oh, the Cameron ideas.
Let's see. Punny Humans. Go to Wally World, aka Magic Mountain. They have way better rides. The kid thing is from, what is this? Star Wars didn't even bring in the unlimited time travel. It was very specific. The kiss of death is letting Michael Bay touch anything. What did he touch that was...
I guess the Transformer stuff, right? A lot of people
that's...
don't like that.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. So you're studying the mechanics of chronology art like a chrono mechanic would.
Yeah, kind of. I'm just interested in just to see if those movies somehow
shoot themselves in the foot with the time travel aspects. And this is one of my wife's favorites. And to be honest, as far as romantic, I guess comedy, dramedies, I don't know if it's even supposed to be a comedy. It's played pretty straightforward now that I think about it. Is that Lake House?
Oh, yeah. I actually rewatched that recently. It was pretty good.
Yeah, and...
for what it is.
Yeah. The time travel aspects, they kind of work. The only thing that movie does, and it's probably smart, is they don't try to explain the time travel. So it just kind of is.
It seems magical almost.
Yeah, it's almost like, sometimes I like those stories where it's kind of like it's a divine intervention, or it's fate that's lending a hand, that it wasn't that guy's time, so fate kind of intervenes and makes this thing happen. So I felt like it was it's kind of time travel, but in the form of like the fates stepping in, and lending a hand. So I didn't mind that. And then there's another one that's kind of I have to agree that I do like this movie. Is that Peggy Sue Got Married?
Oh, that's a great movie.
Yeah, which is there's some weirdness in it where, you know, some of the characters still seem too old to be in a high school.
Almost makes it better though.
It's like Grease, you know, like come on, you guys are all in your 30s. This isn't even close to working, you know.
Why does that guy have so many forehead wrinkles?
He's got shaving stubbles. Yeah, so yeah, it has some of those elements, but it's Francis Ford Coppola, and for the most part it works. And there's some cool stuff with a young Jim Carrey. And Jim Carrey is one of those casting, like some of the casting is really genius, where he does look younger and he does look older in the story, you know, because he was the right age and the right face that it could work both ways. But they kind of, what's her name? She does the voice of in Roger Rabbit.
Oh, I forget the lead actress's name.
But she seems a little Kathleen Turner.
I feel like it kind of worked though, because it's from her point of view.
Yeah, and that's where like some of these ideas, like sometimes when you see like trailers where like costume ideas don't work, or like sometimes the effects don't work. For me, I never totally discount that, because context can sell the idea. So that Kathleen Turner is such a good actress, and the movie is so compelling that you don't mind that some of that weird Grease stuff is like, they're too old, you know, to be playing these roles.
Chicken Sith says Zack Snyder's Lex Luthor. Rhaegar says every veteran ever is proof against Zack Snyder's theory about altruism not existing. I 100% agree.
It does exist. He can say it doesn't exist, but you can say the sky's not blue. But you know what? It is.
Sucker Punch is depressing but visual feast. I completely disagree. It looks like a 90s music video. That movie was weird. Sucker Punch is disturbing. Let's see.
It is really disturbing. It's like a 14 or 15, like a retarded 14 or 15-year-old boy's like weird fantasy. Like, you know, he hasn't figured out how life really works. He hasn't figured out women yet, and You know, he's still kind of like, ooh, action adventure and
Video games.
video games and stuff. So
it's not inspired by video games, but I chose a visual style that looks kind of anime-ish and also kind of video gamey.
yeah, I think the idea, like I can go, the idea is kind of cool where it was a lot of like cross genre stuff. Like, what if I don't know, robots existed in the Second World War, or you know, like he's dealing with like some kind of cool visual ideas where, you know, you're combining things together, but yeah, the tone overall is not that good. I don't like it.
Let's see. Pencils for Life says, "Hey Art, how are you doing, brother?"
Good. I'm doing good. Thanks for asking.
Joe says, oddly enough, Ashton Kutcher wasn't the worst thing about that movie. Yeah.
Oh, the butterfly effect? Yeah, I am going to see that.
I think you'd like it just because you enjoy time travel, and it does some interesting things in it.
And not to... I do like Ashton Kutcher. You guys say his name slowly.
He has his moments.
Yeah, he has moments. Like, he does do good stuff. I guess maybe when that thing came out, I was still a little 70s show. I saw him as that Kelso guy.
Yeah.
It was a little hard to buy it in a serious science fiction movie. So, yeah.
Yeah. The Kelvin timeline doesn't... Is the Kelvin timeline the... I'm assuming that's the Star Trek stuff?
Yeah.
I tried to like disco, but they kept shooting themselves in the foot. You should speak to Lord Doomcock about the Star Trek business. Oh yeah, I know he doesn't like the Star Trek new ones, right? I didn't mind. Let's see, Disney, Star Trek. Wow, Art, you caused quite a rift in the Star Trek debate here.
Oh, geez, sorry.
I hear Star Trek Discovery blows chunks, though. It's super woke. I don't know. I've never seen it.
Is that the newest one?
I don't know. Is it the Discovery? I think it is.
Yeah. I think, there's, I like it for what it is, but like I said, I'm not really that connected to the Star Trek stuff, so it didn't bug me. I thought that one character was kind of an interesting design, the white-haired girl.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty interesting design. It was kind of in the lines of like Darth Maul, where it's just kind of... It's like a simplistic idea, like it's mostly practical, so it's not heavily labored as far as like, you know, special effects is concerned. But it's very effective. Like I thought it was very effective.
Yeah.
I liked it. So, what time are we coming in?
It's almost 2. It's 1:53.
Okay. Yeah, you guys, thanks for hanging out with us. I think we're going to call it. We might come back. I still have some other things to do, and I think Taylor still has... Oh, we were gonna read that page.
Oh, that's right. Well, I have it queued up.
Okay, you know what? We'll do that real quick, but I have to use the restroom real quick and rinse out my brush. So, oh shoot, I just bent my nib.
Oh no.
Oh no, actually, did it survive? It did. It survived. So, yeah, you guys give me a minute. Talk amongst yourselves.
I'm going to read some of your guys' chat. I got this set up. Let's see. What do you guys have got to say? Time Bandits was awesome.
Oh, Time Bandits is awesome.
Yeah, Time Bandits. I've actually never seen it. I've always wanted to. Drax will mysteriously show up as part of the Suicide Squad. James Gunn could save the DCEU if they let him. There's no way they will. On the married franchise character point, I think that was the best thing to ever happen to some characters like Spidey and Superman. It opened up a whole new can of worms for them to deal with. Yeah, but we all know how the Spider-Man thing went. Let's see. Peggy Sue is great. Kathleen Turner is the actress's name. Yes. Let's see. Idiocracy is the 2018 time dimension. Let's see. Speaking of that 70s show, did you see Fez from Dusk Till Dawn, the series? I don't know if Art's seen it. I haven't seen it. I think it's all on Netflix now. One Last Day is not canon. I like to think it's not because it was absolutely terrible. Did you watch The Ranch? It had the most that 70 show. It had most of that 70 show cast in it until Masterson got slapped. Oh yeah.
You watch what?
That show, The Ranch, that had most of the 70 show cast.
Good. Is he saying it was good? I hope.
No, he didn't really give an opinion on it. I've heard it's really, really eh.
It's okay. It's neat to see those guys, though. The fun aspect is just seeing, what's it, Danny, whatever the actress. Yeah, and that Ashton.
Yeah, seeing them together. I guess that would be the main appeal of it anyway.
Yeah, and I like the guy that plays the dad. I can't remember his name, the actor.
He's a good actor.
Yeah, he's really good. He brings a level to it. All right, so...
How do you want to do this? Do I to read it with the...
You know, if we had the printout, how long would it take you to print that out?
We'll have to send it to your email and download it.
Yeah, why don't we do that? I can start inking this other piece, and then we can do a good dramatic reading. I'll do the doctor.
All right, this will take me a minute.
She's gonna send it, so I have a script to read from. Since this doesn't exist yet. I'm not saying Sucker Punch is a great movie. Understand what it's about. Yeah. Oh, you said you don't understand what it's about? I don't know.
It's so deep, I just can't understand it.
Yeah, I don't know if I didn't understand
it's about mental illness. And the deep, I don't know, whatever. It doesn't even matter, to be honest.
Yeah,
it's
I don't
Sucker
know.
Punch.
I don't know. I just remember that my daughter wanted to watch it, and I like to share stuff with her, but she's still young enough that after I watched the movie, I actually had to throw it away because she goes through the movie collection that we have here, and I never wanted her to see it. I'm sure she's seen it now as an adult, but I did not want that to scar her.
I think the thing is, and what more people need to consider when it comes to movies, is liking something versus it being a good movie. Because there's plenty of movies I really like that are objectively really bad, but I'd never insist that they were good movies. It's fine to like it. I'm not going to argue with you liking it. It's fine to like something, just don't insist it's a masterpiece. Trust me, I like plenty of dumb things.
Well, I have a ton of guilty pleasures. Things that I like that I know nobody in their right mind is going to like. But to me, I could think I like stuff like that almost more because it feels more personal. It feels like it was almost like
made for you.
Made for you, yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes enjoying. Because, when you enjoy something and you're deciding if it's good or bad, this is really obvious. I know I don't need to explain it to you guys, but, it's do you like something based on you like this versus you don't like that in the movie? But sometimes the bad parts kind of make up a lot of what you like about it. It's a big part of what makes it great to you.
Or you like so much of it overall that you don't even see the bad. It doesn't even register to you.
It's not bad enough to, outdo what's good or what's enjoyable to you.
Well, we get it all the time. Just yesterday, Taylor and I were working on some color work, and we were at odds. Well, is it good? Is it not good? Which version is better? And so we called, hey, Pamela, that's my wife, and she's editing this book, so we had her come down and look at it. And so we were kind of in agreement what we thought was good. And then she went somewhere totally different. She was like, no, this one's better. And so even, you know what I mean? Like everybody's different. Some things people absolutely could love and some people could actually just hate it. Really have a visceral hate for it. And I just find that very interesting. That's why you should never give up creatively.
Yeah.
Because your voice is unique, and that there are people that, you know, you'll find that you create something, they will come, they will.
It could speak to someone.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm gonna go grab from downstairs. Someone asked, there's a lot of questions. What kind of nib holder are you using? I have big hands and I need a really good nib holder. My inking sucks.
Well, if you have big hands, these are pretty small nib holders. They're just the Hunt 102s. They make bigger nib holders, but they won't hold this size nib. This is a smaller nib. So the bigger handled ones are usually for bigger nibs. Because also, I don't know if you'd want a bigger pin than this with such a small nib. I think it would be a little unwieldy. It would be a little too much. Holder, not enough nib. But I have used bigger pin holders and bigger nibs, and I do like them better. I used to use the Gelates, and the Gelate nib holder is it's a lot bigger. It's like more of a traditional, I don't have one here, but it's more like the traditional shaped like pin holders. But it's all what you get used to. I think that the Hunt company as a whole is probably pretty bad. Like, there's not a lot of quality control with these nibs. So some of them are really bad that you get. So you got to be careful, because sometimes, especially when you first start off, you'll think it's you. Sometimes it's actually the nib, especially if it's one of these Hunt 102s, because there's just not, like I said, there's not a lot of quality control, meaning there's not a lot of consistency to the tip. Each one of the tips will act and be unique unto itself, and so then that becomes a challenge. But I've been doing this so long, I kind of like it that they don't all act the same, because then it just makes it fun for me, because then I have to figure out how to get the best performance out of the tool I can. And so
let's see.
that.
The highlighter might help.
Oh, I got a red pin. Oh, here.
Oh, thanks.
There's a highlighter right there.
By the way, everybody chiming in about their guilty pleasure movies. If Sucker Punch speaks to you, I don't want to impact your enjoyment of the movie. So
just know this, guys, you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't feel the need to like agree, you know, because I don't like when reviewers do that and stuff. But like, you know, feel free to like something regardless if it speaks to you. I
totally understand that there's a lot of different tastes, and there's a lot of different people out in the world, and that's why we have so many different forms of entertainment and subject matter and the like. So it's all good. I never really judge it to that extent. It's weird. This always seems weird to me, and see how you chime in on this, Taylor, where there's people that are so willing to throw down based on a like.
Oh,
You know what? Hootie and the Blowfish suck. It's
how dare you?
How dare you? Hootie and the Blowfish are so amazing. The reason I'm saying Hootie and the Blowfish is I know it's not a timely reference, but it's a funny name
It's a great name.
It's so funny. It always cracks me up. And then there's people like they're going to throw down, and this is another reason why I said it, over Hootie and the Blowfish. Like, is that really, like, are you going to defend it to that extent? Like, oh, you know what? You're stupid. You don't like Hootie and the Blowfish.
You're not my friend anymore.
You're not my friend. Like, gosh, like, who are those people? Like, really? Everybody has to agree with your likes, and if they don't, then you're going to throw down with them? That's crazy.
I'm not going to throw you guys any shade for liking a movie that I'm not into. My favorite guilty pleasure movie is Hawk the Slayer. Have you ever seen that, Art?
I've never even heard of it.
I'm intrigued.
Hawk the Slayer.
Big Trouble in Little China, but it's legit a great movie. Yes, it is.
That is, yeah, I'll say it's great. I'll agree with you, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that won't agree with us. But that is definitely, I put it in the guilty pleasure just because I know there's not a lot of people.
And because it's weird.
Yeah, it's a really weird movie.
If you can't dance, then you're no friend of mine, says Drucken. And Ray Fu says, Art, you need to throw down with Mike over Kiss.
I know. What's his problem? Oh, the Knights in Satan's Service? I don't know. Does he think they're satanic?
I mean, they already said they weren't. Like, Ace has wrote, like, religious-themed songs. Like, they asked him his one solo. He was like, if the devil's playing a card game, there won't be an ace in his hand. And people were like, is that about you leaving Kiss? And he's like, no, I'm a Christian. Like, he didn't even...
Yeah, they didn't even go there.
Yeah, like, he didn't even think about it. Alright, so...
I think the best thing I ever heard, like, if you guys are, like, you know, don't like anything that's seemingly, like, demonic or like that, when it comes to, like, music, I think one of the best analogies I have ever heard is, of all people, it was Ozzy Osbourne, and he said, I'm not a Satan, like, I don't worship Satan. I don't like any of that, like, you know, personally. I think he is religious. He wears a cross. I don't know how religious he is. But he just says, and this is another timely reference, but it was an older interview. He said, you don't fault Vincent Price. You don't think he's like worships Satan and he's in all these like demonic movies or whatever. You just go, he's an actor playing a role. And he said, all I am is an actor playing a role. So it's just like an interest of his. Like, he likes the occult and he likes that subject matter. But he's not demonic. You know what I mean? Like, he just likes scary stuff. He just likes spooky ideas. But it doesn't mean that he is, like, you know, he goes around worshiping Satan. And I think that's an interesting distinction between the two.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just an aesthetic. It's just a scary aesthetic. It doesn't mean that he's really into whatever it is.
Let's see. Just want to make it clear, not saying sucker punch. Yeah, it's cool. I know. I understand.
Yeah, we understand you really like it.
No, don't tease me.
We're just playing.
I know you understand the plot. Alice Cooper is a devout Christian, and look at his stage antics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's an act. It's not real.
It's a character, yeah.
It's a character that they play. I mean, in case of Alice Cooper, it really is a character. The Alice character is a character. It's not him. He makes a distinction between the two. And you know what I never understood? This isn't satanic or anything, until I actually met him and he told me this, is Mr. T. Mr. T is a persona. It's not him. So, ooh, I just put my hand in wet ink. He says, like, when you hire Mr. T, he becomes Mr. T. And when he's not on the clock, he's just himself.
I was trying to laugh because they called you, when people were first entering the chat, they're like, hi, Mr. T. I was like, oh yeah, I guess you're a Mr. T as well.
Yeah, actually, it was funny because we had nicknames in the old studio, so my nickname was Mr. T.
You're both Mr. T's.
I pity the poor fool.
That's how you should start your portfolio reviews.
I pity the poor fool that sends his work, and I get to annihilate it. I'm going to judge it, and I'm going to destroy your will.
Hulk Hogan is a legal persona, or Hulk Hogan is a persona, and there's legal transcripts testifying to that. We all knew Mr. T wasn't legit after Roddy Piper got down with him. Death, Taxes, and Bad Comics says, you draw some of the most beautiful female faces in the business. It just amazes me every time I watch.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. That is so so kind of you to say. So, I was doing this just to try to buy time. Do you want to get into the dramatic reading of the page? Were you working on the edits that we were talking about the other day? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah,
Cool.
There's still a little bit of I don't know how much I want to say. The bolding that needs to be done.
Yeah, but I mean, we're gonna read it, so.
So if you read it.
The cat is out of the bag.
Italics, bolds, etc.
Where's my script?
There we go.
Where's my script?
So the yellow is marked.
So you guys can read along with me.
Let me see what.
Wait a minute. How am I gonna multitask this? I gotta show the book.
Oh yeah.
I gotta show the pages.
How are we
while
gonna
I'm
do this?
doing this?
Art, what is that red dot? What red dot?
This red dot right here. This, you guys. Okay, I'll show you this. I did my Hollywood thing so I can make sure. I'm trying to make a better show for you guys. So if you see this line right here, this line here, and this line here, and I have one up here. These are my marks. So like in Hollywood, you have marks. So you hit your mark so the camera can focus on you perfectly. So is she perfectly in frame?
Yes, she is.
Okay, so that was that. So then I have a mark here. I don't know if you can see it. It's over here off to the side. So when I move it over here, it frames in this part. So then I know it's straight on with the camera. So I'm trying to give you guys a better show. And so this red mark, it should be centered with the camera. So it should be centered right on the camera. So that's what that's there for.
It's a visual cue.
It is a visual cue, so I know what's in frame and what's out of frame.
James says, yes, perfect focus. Art is using showbiz and we like it.
I'm going Hollywood on you guys.
Let's see. Don't
Okay.
show them the whole thing.
What? I'm not. Okay, now I got to figure out my mark. Okay, so is she on?
Let me see. Yeah. She's not. Okay, wait. There's a slight delay on this. So,
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Now she's on the mark.
Okay, wait. So
Spoilers, says hardware.
let me get my eyes focused on this. I'm getting my reading eyes on. Splash of Whitney, Maltese mental. Okay, Whitney. It all seems like you learned how to do is fight. Okay, you got all the best lines though.
I know. Sorry.
Damn it. Okay, so this is page 6 of Black and White 1 Remastered. This is Whitney's song, aka White. So Taylor, you got to read loud so we can get this all to work.
All right. So
Okay.
I read the details as well.
You could do the caption.
Okay. So page 6, Splash of Whitney close up. Caption: Maltese Mental Hospital.
Whitney, it seems I've already screwed up. Whitney, it seems all you've done is learn to fight.
Page 7, panel 1.
Okay, this is this page here. I'll find my legs, you guys.
All right. Whitney. Not just fight. I know how to brew a good beer, too. How's the eye, Dr. Salau?
And is that...
That was panel 1.
Is this still the same panel? Panel 1?
And then
Yeah.
panel 2 starts
Just
doctor.
just further proof that whenever your delusions are challenged, you react violently. You maintain that JC, a well-known philanthropist and robots engineer, is responsible for the death of your entire family. Whitney, what happened was very tragic. The kid named Jake Chang that burned down your family home and died in a... Wait a minute.
Family home. There should be a comma.
Yeah, there needs to be punctuation there. The kid named Jake Chang that burned down your family home and died in a prison fire 16 years ago.
No, comma. Burned down your family home, died in a prison fire 16 years ago.
Okay.
That was my fault. I didn't put the
Okay.
comma.
I still couldn't see it right. Okay. If there is karmic justice... You guys, this is work in progress. If there is karmic justice, it was served.
Panel 3. And then doctor off panel.
Okay. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. So I read panel 2. Okay, so then
panel 3 speaks off panel.
Okay, so here he says, in a biblical sense, an eye for an eye.
And Whitney says, funny.
And so
Panel 4.
here 8, I assure you the humor was unintentional. My point is, no one has ever seen JC. And then in panel 5, except you. And and you're claiming he's a dead man. Then the doctor again. JC has done nothing but make a very generous offer to help you save your family business. He wants to help you like he's helped so many others. That's why you're here at Maltese Mental Institution rather than a prison.
And then page 8, panel 1.
Okay, let me scoot this over. I think they can see it now.
All right, can you guys see that? All right. And then Whitney says in panel 1, fools are known by their words, and you condemn yourself.
Wait a minute. Where is this?
Page 8, panel 1.
Page 8, panel 1. Oh, I moved on too fast. Okay, sorry guys. I got too many balls here moving around. So you just read, fools are known by their words and you've condemned yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then here he says, he means you no harm. He just wants you to get the help you need.
And then panel 3, Whitney says, you have no idea who he really is. You'll see soon enough.
I know who he is. He's your guardian angel. He's looking out for you. He does that for all of us.
Whitney says in panel 4, guardian angel. I look out for myself. I don't need a guardian angel.
And then here.
And then panel 5, Whitney says, he has you all fooled. He'll destroy you too.
And then the doctor just, oop. You want to try to run through it again now that I know the rhythm?
Yeah. We probably should have read this once.
I don't have my, it's weird because the way my eyes, I have glasses, but I can see some things good and I can't others.
I might have printed it out a little small.
Okay, so.
Okay, so page 6.
You know what I'm going to do too? I'm going to circle the pages so I can see them easier. Boom, 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 boom. Page 8, 6, 7, and 8.
Let's see. I don't need no stinking guardian angel. This is coming.
Exactly. All right, let's see if we can get this to flow. So I'm not going to key into the panels. I'm just going to read.
Okay. All right, you want to just read through? No.
Yeah, let's try to get it more dramatic.
Okay, so caption: Maltese Mental Hospital.
Whitney, it seems all you've done is learn to fight.
Let's see. Not just fight. I know how to brew a good beer too. How's the eye, Dr. Salau?
Okay, so panel. Just further proof that whenever your delusions are challenged, you react violently. You maintain that JC, a well-known philanthropist and robotics engineer, is responsible for the death of your entire family. Whitney, what happened was very tragic. The kid named Jake Chang that burned down your family home, where's the comma?
Right there. Home. Died
Home.
in a prison fire.
Is it family home, comma?
Yeah.
Died in the prison fire 16 years ago. If there is karmic justice, it was served. In a biblical sense, an eye for an eye.
Funny.
I assure you, the humor was unintentional. My point is, no one has ever seen JC, except you, and you're claiming he's a dead man. JC has done nothing but make a very generous offer to help save your family brewery or business. He wants to help you, like he's helped so many others. That's why you're here at Maltese Mental Institution, rather than a prison.
Fools are known by their words, and you condemn yourself.
He means you no harm. He just wants to help you.
You have no idea who he really is. You'll see soon enough.
Oh. So yeah, without actually multitasking, I can't cue him in and read it at the same time. Yeah.
I'm gonna change offer to help save your family visits to brewery. You said brewery, and I think it's more organic.
Yeah, it's more personal too. And then there was another one that I just kept saying.
Let's see.
I think sometimes
Maltese Mental Institute rather than hospital.
Maltese Mental Institution, hospital, institution. Yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll think about that. But sometimes when you read these things come out more organic. So yeah, so I hope you guys like that. These are...
Thanks for the clap emoji, you guys.
Yeah, these are the 3 pages that we're putting together right now. And so you can see the various stages of putting them together. I don't know if you guys are like me. I love this procedural stuff.
and how people creatively bring stuff like this to light. And yeah, I love doing it. I love watching it. So yeah, so you guys saw me. Let me see, just to recap. This is this new panel, and then most of the new reworking that I did was here. So this, I don't know if you can see it. This is this, and so then the angry eyes here is this, and then the one I didn't get finished is this panel here, and then this will be the replacement panel for it, but it'll be flopped. I'm just drawing it this way. So that wraps up our little black and white stuff.
Thanks, you guys.
Should I put this here so they have a visual for the
That's
outro?
a good outro. Let's
Good
see.
outro.
Art, are you going to be doing any shows anytime soon? I want to get my original black and white signed.
Yeah, we're starting to put together the 2018, and what I'd like to do, if there's any promoters out there and stuff, I'd like to try to bring this whole dog and pony show to the road, so where you guys can meet Taylor and you can get her to sign your books as well. So I think that would be a lot of fun.
It would be fun.
Yeah, we can bring the books out and just kind of meet and greet. And I think there's some talk about some Comicsgate cons as well, so maybe that in the future.
If you guys want it, demand it.
Demand it. Tell people. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this installment. So you want to get us out of here, Taylor?
Yeah. Switch places.
We're switching places.
Thanks, you guys, for joining us. Like I said, we're still waiting for approval on that monetization thing. So any donations are appreciated. A lot of them will probably go towards upgrading our studio space here. Like we said, we had to struggle with some duct tape to kind of rig up this camera and stuff. Anyway, don't forget, Black and White is still in demand on Indiegogo. You can get yourself a copy, and we're just past 44. Our main goal is 50, so we're trying to get there. Our greatest asset is word of mouth. So thanks to the creators of duct tape.
And duct tape.
And yeah, our greatest asset is word of mouth. So if you want to share with any friends you think might be interested, that is greatly appreciated. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. And thanks for hanging with us.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good day.